the election office at 8 p.m. this evening. Oh, Secretary of State's office.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, Shyster. If the U.S. Post Office is involved, you think it's a messed up system. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny because it's all of the mail to send out the ballots in the first place, and then all of the mail involved to get the ballot back, and then it's just, it's definitely a lot.
It's a lot of work for them. They're counting the ballots. They must have a staff. I think the cost to do an election is about $17 million.
Yeah, and
in Washington.
Ironically, they have elections sometimes out of election season. I mean, I consider this election season is every 2 years, which is whenever the U.S. House members are running.
Yeah.
Every 2 years, all of them have to run for re-election or election. And, so there's a primary, and then we're in the middle of the primary now, and then if David gets, the way our system works here is that it goes to a top 2 system.
Yeah, I agree.
So the top 2 then move on to
the top 2 move on, yeah.
The general election.
I was shocked that my 200-word essay that I wrote about myself would not be in the pamphlet.
Unless you get to top 2.
Unless I get to top 2, it'll be in the pamphlet, but our island county didn't post any of that information. So not only did the people not know what my face looked like, they didn't even know what my politics was. So in other words, the people in Island County want to be left in the dark. That's what the officials there that are running this operation.
They have an online voters pamphlet for people, but how many people are actually going to go onto the Secretary of State's website and check it out?
I'm concerned that the lack of information.
Good. Thank you, Alma.
I'm concerned that the lack of information and the lack of shared information, along with the sabotage of my signs.
Incorrect, Charlie. David never voted for that individual. He wrote his own name in both of the previous presidential elections.
I've always voted for myself in both of the previous elections, and I ran as a write-in candidate, an official write-in candidate in every election. Hey, I always believed that politics was fair, and just like when I was going to college, I thought graduating #1 in my high school class and having high SAT scores would give me a scholarship. I thought maybe I'd have the ability to do well in college among people socially, but I found out I needed to drive a Porsche in order to get into some of the fraternities. That was a real shocker. And now I'm finding that I have to be some sort of a corrupt crony of the Democratic Party in order to get endorsements. I'm really shocked at the way they sabotaged my campaign, and at this point, I've got a lot of concern for our nation. This was, in a way, a litmus test of what an election would be like with a new type of candidate, and we're finding out that the status quo does not want to relinquish power. They want to hold on to it. They feel they're entitled, even though they've wasted $90 billion. That's how deep our state of Washington is in debt. I would have run for Congress, but it would have cost me $1,700 to go against Larson. And I didn't want to spend $1,780. I spent $420.06, and I ran a campaign. The total amount we invested, somewhere around $1,250, because I had to make up 100 new signs because I had them all stolen. We've been facing a lot of expenses like traveling around. 5 times I've traveled my district posting signs. Many of you have probably seen me if you're in the district watching. Is there a reason why guest chat's not open right now? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
He got around 47,000 to his campaign. It's all about cronyism, and these people want to keep the same people in. I was surprised the Democrats didn't run a credible campaign against me with the other guy. No signage whatsoever. Nothing. They're so convinced that their publication of a smear campaign in a local newspaper run by a Canadian company would be effective in getting rid of me, and maybe it worked. I don't know. If that's what their game is, smear campaigns, denying freedom of speech, telling people they can't parody their deity of a president, Barack Obama, that's something that is an outright slam against what this country stands for, and it's downright un-American of these Democrats to behave this way.
It's more like he's going to run a show tonight, wishing to debate us.
Yeah, well, we've already opened up a Hangout, and anyone can go into the Hangout. What's the name of the Hangout again, exactly? YouTube.com/America's Third Party, right?
You can go there. I'm not sure exactly how to get
Yeah.
into the Hangout chat from there. I haven't done that research.
Don't need a mustache, Rocksteady Radio. Nobody takes anyone seriously with a mustache.
Well, we're going to have a virtual post-victory
I'm
party.
frozen? Am I frozen, Winchell? We're having a virtual party right now. People are already partying at Democratic headquarters in their own minds, so I'm not sure what they're talking about. I, at this point, can't get a pardon for any criminal because I won't be in a position to pardon anyone if I do win this position. I need top 2 tonight to go on to the final campaign, the run to November.
Everyone has been unbanned.
We unbanned everybody. I never said he was a criminal. You said he needed a pardon. That implies he's a criminal. Manny, there's no debate here. Bubba isn't communicating with me. He's not taking anything seriously. And that's exactly why I won't even comment about that person. Take it easy. Take it easy. You're going to have a heart attack. Okay. Take it easy. You're going to have a heart attack. Yeah, my real competitor in this race is Dave Hayes, if I get to the top 2. But if I don't get to the top 2, this campaign runs on to the presidency, and we get to mold a centrist philosophy here in the chat room over the next year and 3 months and see if we can gather enough momentum to get on the ballot in Iowa. I may even have to go to Iowa.
Yeah, we might have to.
I'm thinking of going there, and I've got some Farmer John jeans and some, seriously, I mean, I'll dress the part completely. I've got the full-on suspender Levi's, size 38 waist. Call comes in at 8:30 our time, so we got a long wait. If you're waiting for the call, it's like waiting for Godot. Don't worry about it. I know America created Osama bin Laden, and then they pretended like they killed him May 2nd, 2011 in order to cover up Barack Obama's birth certificate. It's amazing how they pulled that off, El Cliente.
Yeah, we'll be waiting about 2 hours for the call to come in.
Jesus Christ. Rodney, I didn't know you became religious all of a sudden. This is a new thing. Rodney must have found some spiritual.
Sarah does have a personal calendar for sale, but it is the funds for the calendar do not go to America's Third Party.
I don't want to lean my head too close because they'll think I have an abnormally large head.
Sorry, should I go down?
I'm going to go up.
Should I sit down or something?
We're all hot tonight, Wintard. You're hot. I'm hot. Meow TV's hot. He's going, oy vey. Please do a musical night one time. Well, guest 44404, are you a fan of the American musical? Would you like to do a little tribute to West Side Story in favor of illegal aliens? I want to be an American. I want to be an... You know, there's a lot of people who want to be Americans, but no, I called everybody hot, Wintard. It's a general statement. We're all burning up from fear of Ebola. I'm concerned about illegals coming over the border right now, 52,000 of them being distributed with contagious diseases throughout the country. Obama did that in order to force the Republicans to sign an immigration bill that keeps growing second by second. I mean, what is it, up to $4.4 billion now? I know. He's an empty, vacuous hole, Topper Dan. I know. We have ways we could beat Dave Hayes in a head-to-head in the final. I have things I haven't deployed, methods that I think will work, but if I don't get top 2, I won't have that opportunity. Really? A cereal? Ooh. Well, don't worry. Yes, yes, yes. We've always got the 2016 election, and really that's the most important thing. Although I do want to help the people in Washington deal with some of the fiscal crisis that we're facing. We just found out that a local island transit company that's been providing free rides for people up and down a 40-mile stretch of land. We have a big island here on Whidbey Island. Yeah, we have a lady there named Rose who's running the whole operation into the ground. Now, 4 years ago, I talked to Rose at a farmhouse gang meeting on transportation, and I said to her, you need to switch to propane trucks for your vans that carry people around, Rose. And she said, oh, no, I've already made my decision. I'm buying diesel trucks. I said, no, really, propane's $1 cheaper. At that time, it was $2 cheaper a gallon. And she refused to even listen to me. Now, the local government had to cut her an $800,000 check alone to keep the business going. They shared the cost of yet a new building. I mean, these people are building buildings, edifices, with your tax dollars, folks. I don't think Dave Hayes has done any of the sign stealing. I would tend to believe that it was mostly the Democrats that did that. That's right, Bobby. That's right, Bobby. Propane and propane. You know, I think propane would have been so much cheaper, and she would have saved about $1 million in fuel alone over the past 4 years. You don't have to win the presidential election in order to be a kingmaker? I don't know what you're saying, Topper Dan. I know the political system is completely controlled by big money, and we're challenging all that. We don't have any concerns about the cronyism. We know for a fact that the cronyism that's going on in Washington and Washington State is taking over our nation. Thank you. Appreciate it. But I'm concerned that this whole thing, what's happening in Washington, is going on all around the country. I'm not sure, Nippers, but I can tell you they don't like me in the Democratic Party, and I really want to help guide them toward a better place, because they're right now on a sinking ship. It's called the USS Obama. And I'm not sure if many of you have really taken a good look at his policies, but his approval rating is in the tank, and his behavior so far has been one of a vacationing politician who lies incessantly. And I'm concerned that we've got so much money going out for nothing, no great solutions, nothing that he wanted to do is really manifesting.
Do you want to do them on over there? Or?
Yeah, I do, but I just wanted to pull up a picture of... A lot of people are concerned about Obama committing what they believe to be treason. And this is just a poster that I saw on the internet that I grabbed. It's just crazy, all the people that are upset at him because he's violated executive power.
Just,
I got it.
Can you put it in the chat room thing?
Mm-hmm. He's violated executive privilege, and he's allowed Eric Holder to violate executive privilege. And we're seeing our country now slip into the doldrums where we don't have any economic revival at all. Our growth rate is 1.1%, and it was expected to be 3.3%. And now the stock market is clearly reeling, finally, from the incredible doubt and disbelief people have about his administration.
To actually invest.
Were they?
Yeah.
Okay, please don't bother with these people that are coming in who are spamming us. I'm going to go ahead and request that we do guest off for now, the time being, because I don't want to fight this absolute imbecile who tries to slam on our show and ride on our coattails. We've been doing this for 6 years, folks, and you don't get to where we are being softies, being unwilling to push to the final limit to solve problems. And we're willing to go the distance to help the American people solve our problems. And boy, do we have some problems. Tonight is Truth Tuesday, so we're going to try to touch on some of those problems that are facing the country. I'm not happy with the NSA watching our emails. Well, Topper Dan, Jerry Brown got 9% of the Democratic vote in 1992. 9%. And it didn't even give him a speaking position at the Democratic National Convention. So I don't think 3% is going to draw a lot of interest. I know he lets it happen. He could stop it. I know. The worst thing I think Obama's done in the recent history is allow Bergdahl to be released, a known defector, a deserter, to be released from a trade with 5 known terrorists that killed thousands of our troops. I mean, this is an atrocity of unmeasurable nature, which he should be prosecuted for, because he didn't go through the 30-day mandatory period with Congress to okay this trade. And we don't negotiate with terrorists, so what's going on? What kind of a president is this guy? He's been vacationing. His wife has 26 servants. The cost of their administration has cost over $2 billion in excessive funding for vacations and extra I guess they have all kinds of things they put out there. I'm cutting off and on. Let me see if I'm split up too much. Winchell, is everybody else coming in clear, or am I cutting off and on? You know, I'm going to drop off Ustream.
Okay.
I don't think we need to be there.
Okay.
I agree. I am ultimately going to draw both from the left and the right. I realize that. I've thought about this, Topper Dan. All of this has been engineered years ago. We're in the process right now of delivering what many people believe will be the solutions for our country to survive the next 50 years. We are trying to move forth with a platform that will revolutionize our nation in some ways without costing you taxpayers too much money. The election results will be coming in at about 8:30. I'll be getting a call from the Skagit Herald. 8:30 my time. So if you guys are really into the show, hang in there, and we'll definitely talk about a lot of stuff. But the American people don't think that the Democrats and Republicans care about privacy. They realize they don't really care about ending wars, with John McCain and John Kerry both supporting war in Syria. I think the Tea Party people would like me, Governor Woodbury. I've tried to appeal to them, but they have their own little Republican enclave, and the Republicans don't even like the Tea Party right now. So I would welcome all Tea Party supporters to come into our show and participate in our party. We are fiscal conservatives, and we're trying to make sure that our nation doesn't spend a lot of money and becomes an efficient business that gets a return on investment instead of wasting tons of money like these Democrats and Republicans have done. Okay. There's some theft going on, Manny? Yeah, well, they've been stealing my signs, yeah. All right. You called already? Is this funny, Andy? I wish I was as funny as your name. I'm just kidding. How do I pronounce it? Milonakis. Milonakis. Andy Milonakis. Rocksteady Radio is going to be calling. Operators are standing by, meaning I've got a phone right next to me here.
He said he just voted, and he says you deserve to legislate.
Thank you so much. Rocksteady Radio, I appreciate it. You're from our area? That's good.
Knight.
Fox Knight did. Oh, thank you. Excellent. Fox Knight is over at Battle Camp. Thanks, guys. Well, definitely, I agree. And, I'm hearing that from all the independent friends that I have right now. They're saying, yeah, man, you want them to be so pissed off at you that they're going to be, having problems with their bowels. And I agree. I mean, if I could get to top two right now, those Democrats are going to be having problems with their bowels. It'll be X-Lax in reverse.
Oh, was that you, Andy, on our other show that David?
It's from Kazakhstan. Oh. Kazakhstan? If you win, you get a phone call live and Vaughn. Oh, if I lose, I'll get a phone call live and Vaughn. I'm gonna do a speech on the show live.
Not yet. They'll be coming in at 8.
Online dating pimp, you got a very bad attitude. I'm amazed you're.
I know. I don't know why you dislike us so much.
Yeah, I'm amazed your mom hasn't given you a spanking. What is Battle Cam, the website run by that billionaire? And they say, oh yeah, I know Cantaloupe, Ganush. Are you competing with Baba Ganush? Cantaloupe Ganush. I was thinking it was Sourdough Ganush, but I don't know who he is or what his deal is. Alki tried to give us a $25 donation. We had to send it back. Yes, Rodney, we'll talk to them live as soon as they call in, and I'm going to have to tell them I'm recording the show because we are recording the show over here for posterity on a Google Hangout on YouTube. Yeah. So if you guys want to migrate over to the YouTube Hangout, you could probably get in there, youtube.com/America's Third Party.
Or the YouTube people can go hang out at our chat room. We have a couple chat rooms. One of them is battlecam.com.
Wigglebottom, we're still looking at the surveillance footage of the big sign that was stolen that had signs saying under video surveillance. We're still looking at that. Trying to close it on the face. We'll need some help, of course, from law enforcement, but at this point I'm not really worried about it. We're moving on. I have a forward-thinking campaign. I don't look back. Really? Battlecam was a broadcast location? Okay. All right, good. Yeah. So not liking our privacy taken away, not liking our freedom squelched by these Democrats, thinking that they can tell me that I'm a racist when I've never said a racial slur in my life, and then go around sabotaging my signs. We've got a lot to worry about right now. We've got a leftist group in the Democratic Party that seems to be taking Marxist orders of some sort, goose-stepping around like fascists, and supporting Obama as though he's God, after he's done absolutely nothing for our nation other than waste $6.66 trillion. Okay. I already am arrogant. What do you mean? Become arrogant. People accuse me of being arrogant all the time. I'm not. I don't see myself as arrogant, but they say you seem arrogant.
There was a donation that we gave back that was from. It was from the someone from out of our country.
Yeah, it was Alki David. Was out of our country.
Yeah, if you're talking about the donation from Alki David, yes.
I'm concerned that Obama dropped the mandate of the Democrats, which in some ways seemed good. Thank you, Topper Dan. The public option concept really made sense to me. The single-payer plan didn't because it cost the employers 8%, employees 8%, or 7%, 7%. I want people to pay, not mandatory, mind you, but I want people to pay for a full health care coverage and basic dental. If they don't want to do it, they would automatically get Medicaid if they had no money, same as our system today. But it would introduce an idea that would be very affordable. The problem with health care is Nancy Pelosi thinks we all have $15,000 a year to spend on health care insurance. Seriously. Now, I want to charge $60 a month per person for a national opt-in health care plan. Obviously, that's something on my agenda. I'm going to keep pushing for it. I'm not going to be like Barack Obama and leave it up to Rahm Emanuel and see it all disappear. Rahm Emanuel, by the way, part of his trade to leave as chief of staff for Barack Obama, got a sweetheart deal to go to Chicago and become mayor, even though he didn't qualify. They actually changed the laws in Chicago just to allow Rahm Emanuel to become. This is how much cronyism has invaded the Democratic Party and how much they have become Chicago-style thug politicians. But Rahm Emanuel, let me tell you about his fiscal policy. He gives a foreign company, a European concern, $1 billion a year to run parking meters, and probably close to the same amount to run all of those checkpoints that they've created, toll booths. They're called toll booths. So all that money is going out of the country. Like $2 billion a year in Chicago income is going out of the country. That's the style of democratic policy that you're seeing right now. Barack Obama just gave $9 billion to the national Chinese government to come in here and repair a couple of bridges. That's his order currently. We aren't even training welders that are still living, mind you, that built bridges in their early 20s that could train other welders. We aren't even creating a class that can actually repair our infrastructure. We're headed for an imminent collapse, whether we like it or not, and the only way to prevent that is to get a third party on the ballot and challenge these two parties in the very world that they seem to live in, where they own everything. In their mind, they think they can just hand out your tax dollars like it's free money, like it's no big deal. That's correct. I'm not expecting a red carpet, but I'll tell you, I am looking for a little bit more respect if I do get top two. If I don't get top two, they're going to just say, yeah, see, we told you so. And what I'm going to say is this cronyism is so deep and so infested that we literally have a bunch of numbnuts running around thinking that the Democrats are just great when our country's sliding into a hole. We're right on the rim of the toilet bowl, and I can hear the thing flushing. And that's how serious the problem is. So if this is really a litmus test, whether I get top two or not, we still have a serious problem with cronyism in the state of Washington. Well, I would contest the results, Utah Dave. I'm beginning to think that they're capable of anything. Rigging results on Diebold voting machines seems like nothing else. No, I'm not wearing a toupee. You're funny. It's all real hair. Hair, beautiful hair, online hair. No, I'm not wearing a toupee. You can see clearly. I can see clearly now you're not wearing a toupee. I can see every follicle in your head, in your scalp. Oh, I'm sorry. Rodney doesn't like when I'm singing. Thank you. David, you remember the Hair Club for Men? No, I'm not. Hey, I'm a 54-year-old guy that really enjoys life.
Who are you talking to, Moshe?
Moshe, is that a death threat?
Oh, you're talking to Wayfin. Right, go ahead.
I know, thanks. Please no death threats here. I wasn't in a Chinese buffet. I can't eat there. The salt level's too high. Looking good, Siren C. Well, I hear you're looking good too, I understand. How old are you? 28? Every woman wants to be 28. Oh no, Obama looks pretty old, racist thumper. Yeah, his age has gotten, I mean, it's just unbelievable how fast he's aging, and he's a waft of a man. He must weigh about 112 pounds. And I think it's something about that crack lifestyle that he had in college must have kept his weight down to the point where he's kind of a skeletal frame weight of about 100. It's very seriously messed up. I'm concerned about his health. I am. When the Globe announced that he had lung cancer, I was like, geez, I hope he makes it as long enough to be impeached. Okay, we've got a person who's threatening us.
Why are you trying to ruin us?
Yeah, I'm not sure what his problem is.
Moshe is not talking to you.
Oh, okay.
They're talking to other people in the chat room who are Holocaust deniers.
I don't like Holocaust
we are
deniers.
Not Holocaust deniers.
The Holocaust is terrible.
I know someone who thinks that because I'm not a Holocaust denier that I believe in conspiracies.
Are you kidding? I mean, almost everyone in the world thinks that the Holocaust was a horrible event and Hitler was an evil despot. Most people don't realize that Hitler actually escaped from Argentina. Let me see if I can pull up that blog.
House of Representatives, Washington State House of Representatives, so not U.S. House, but yes, David is running for that in the primary.
Wow, I got to take up some space here.
Okay, or you can move it over there.
Okay.
And then you could minimize this.
Okay.
Thank you. You're so nice.
Okay.
No, Thumper. Of course not.
So let's see what I have here.
Really raging, Grover?
Okay, I have a link that'll blow your mind here, and I won't be able to play it over on the Hangout side, the Holocaust side. But I have a link here that'll blow your mind, and it's from Red Flag. And I will show you the link right here. I'll give it to you. It's the current link that we copied, but Red Flag News talks about some pretty interesting things about Hitler. I'm going to read it to you real quick. The FBI quietly opens secret files that attest that Hitler went to Argentina rather than commit suicide. Newly declassified FBI documents prove that the government knew Hitler was alive and well and living in the Andes Mountains long after World War II. And on April 30th, 1945, Hitler committed suicide, allegedly, in his underground bunker. His body was later discovered and identified by the Soviets before being rushed back to Russia. Is it really possible that the Soviets have been lying all this time and that history has purportedly been rewritten? No one thought so until the release of the FBI documents. It seems that it's possible that the most hated man in history escaped war-torn Germany and lived in a bucolic and peaceful life in the beautiful foothills of the Andes Mountains. This makes me sick. If you want to look at that yourself, you can do it. I don't want to bore you with it, but the thing that really upsets me is that these people were never really tried. The Nuremberg trial only executed 29 people for the most atrocious period of time in world history. He probably is in Brazil and he's 140 years old and looks like the Juice Man. And he has eyebrows rolling out. It's just sick to me to think that this man who committed so many horrible, heinous acts could possibly have lived in Argentina. And they're dating? Okay, well, read the news. I mean, I gave you a link, Topper Dan. Try to open up your mind to the possibility that this could be true. Okay, Camellia, I didn't mean to think that it was a joke. This is real. This could be true. Okay, so I've got an ability to work with things over here, too, to show people things in the Hangout. I'll look at some things over there.
Good. Make sure you have to do that Y orientation.
Right. If I do anything with print, yep. Yeah, so who knew? You know, a lot of people say Donald Trump should run for president in 2016, and I must say, his hotel rooms are about $650 a night on the low end. I think we need more of a man of the people, personally. I think he's got a lot of insight in business, though. I would certainly offer Donald Trump a place in my cabinet. What do you mean Saddam was fine with us guys in the 80s? Why are you worried about Saddam? He's been dead for a few years. You don't like Donald Trump, Dino? You think he's a capitalist pig? Okay. But he did raise an issue about Barack Obama's birth certificate that many people are still wondering why we haven't seen any legitimate answers from Barack Obama. That fake birth certificate he put out clearly did not put the whole story to rest. And when people asked to see it up close and personal, they were denied access. I talked to Doug Vogt, the preeminent expert on documents. He creates scanners here in Washington, and he's traveled around the country. He tried to get a hold of that birth certificate, and the press secretary said he couldn't have it, couldn't look at it, couldn't study it, couldn't even Xerox it or scan it. Pretty sad. Hey, for all of you over at Hangout, I want to show you guys a mask that I'm putting on right now. This is something we are offering 5 of these masks in plastic bags delivered to your snail mail address for a minimum donation of $10. Now, this is the kind of thing that you could do if you go to our website, americasthirdparty.com, and just click on the donation button and donate $10 or more, and we will send you 5 of these masks hermetically sealed in a Ziploc baggie, right from the manufacturer. The only difference is I basically handle it with plastic gloves on in an airtight area. I know, Donald Trump's father left him $1 million, it's true. He's also filed for bankruptcy many times. You guys have a lot of information on Donald Trump. Hell's Angels is here. Yeah, so I don't know if I would trust somebody like that to be president, but he can certainly help build American business. Don't you think his insight might be beneficial? I know his father was very, very wealthy. Actually, I'm not signing them, but I am putting a business card in there with my initials, signed by my initials, DJS. No, you don't look like him. You don't look like Donald Trump at all. Your hair is a lot thicker on your head. Well, he's handled a lot of financial problems with a cool head. Now, our nation, in case you didn't know, is bankrupt. We've been bankrupt since the 1930s. You just don't know it. So a guy like Donald Trump might actually help us negotiate our debt notes. It's possible. But I'm not looking to put Donald Trump front row center. He's not calling me on the phone. I think he did come into our chat room a couple of years ago and said, keep up the good work. It really did seem like Donald Trump coming into our chat room. Of course, that could have been anybody in their basement. Anyway, those are the masks, folks, at the Hangout, and they are blue APSO masks. They have 1 micron protection. Any virus or bacteria, I can't guarantee they will completely protect you, but they will give you a fighting chance against any potential threat. Now, my question is to all of you, why hasn't the CDC, with their nearly $4 billion budget per year, allocated $500 million and sent us all masks in the mail so we'd have them in case of a disaster? I mean, how good is it if we don't have a mask? How can we prevent a potential spread of something like Ebola or MRSA?
Normal made a good point that in the country where he's living right now, people wear these masks. Like when someone gets a cold themselves, they wear the mask to prevent the infection from going to others.
That's a great idea. So I'm thinking that the CDC, drawing nearly $4 billion a year, because we went to the monthly Treasury report, we found out what their annual fee was. Why they don't do something to prevent disease from spreading? I mean, it's a simple thing. You get 5 of these ziplocked in a baggie to each family in America. It would cost no more than maybe, I'm going to guess $500 million. I've done some math on this. About I would say 50 to 100 million families in America. Anyway, in each bag would be a return order form and an envelope that somebody could actually order more. And they'd be better than these masks. They would actually have little holes that blow out. The mask I like is the P95 mask. It's rated with it has a little blowout hole right here. This is the next best thing. This is a bacteriological high-end mask that is used in hospitals. Anyway, I'm just thinking prevention is a lot better than wondering, maybe we should bring some Ebola patient into our country in a Tyvek suit. And now there's going to be 2 Ebola patients coming into Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm wondering, why can't they do this in the Doctors Without Borders vessel that floats around the ocean? Why do they have to bring Ebola patients into this country to study them? Yeah, they are cheap. So it wouldn't be too costly to prepare people for all of that, to prevent a major disaster from breaking out. This is a simple, common sense solution that I'm telling you about. No, I don't have Ebola, Rodney. This is a common sense solution I'm telling you about that completely blows by the government of cronies that just want to suck off your tax dollars. Now, the CDC can't even be reached. If you call them right now, you can't get through. I tried calling them one time with what appeared to be a peanut allergy I had. I didn't know if it was a contagious disease of the peanuts that I was eating, but I had some sort of a peanut that looked like it had black mold on it. And I looked it up, and there was an Egyptian strain of black mold in the peanut supply that caused the symptoms I was having. And I called up the CDC. Can't get through. You get a European answering machine company that makes money on U.S. tax dollars, and they answer the phone, yes, hello, how can I help you? This is the CDC. Yeah, I'd like to talk to somebody at the CDC. Oh, we are just the answering machine. Well, I need to talk to somebody at the CDC. Yes, you must go through your health department. It is very simple. Just contact your local health department. They pay people hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to answer the phone for them, but they themselves can't answer the phone. What are they doing? Playing with monkeys and rats and spreading disease? I mean, seriously, this is a $4 billion department that isn't doing their job very well. And when I saw those guys coming in here, that one doctor with Ebola, the other one too, and they both were injected with that experimental drug, I was saying, you know, this is insane. Coming in a Tyvek suit with paper slippers on, this is outrageous. George Washington Carver would be outraged. Well, that's exactly what Alex Jones would say way back tech, and people would think that you're crazy because Alex Jones said it. You know, oftentimes Alex Jones speaks the truth. He just says it in such a crazy way that people don't even believe him. It's more like, come on, everybody, you're gonna have to get off the red list. If you're on the red list, you're gonna be RFID'd and sent to the FEMA camps. I mean, that kind of rhetoric creates a lot of fear, and people start going, yeah, sure, he's a whack job. No, there won't be any offers like that. No, thank you, Hill Hill. Never had any mold in your marijuana? Oh. Your peanuts and beans, yeah. Well, I found some weird black. I even have a sample of the bag. The story goes on. I nearly died from these peanuts. Now, I'm not suffering from any disease or anything, but the symptoms were really weird. I had a huge amount of gas in my upper GI, to the point where my lungs were having a hard time breathing. And I said, Sarah, if I go check into the hospital, it's going to cost me about $60,000 in diagnostics. Do you think I should bankrupt my entire life? So you remember that.
You've never gone to the hospital ever.
I don't like
Since I've known
you,
I've never seen you go to the hospital except to visit somebody else in the hospital.
And to argue for better patient care.
Yes, and to argue for better patient care for the people that you're visiting.
Okay, let's talk about weed now, shall we? The truth is, it took the Democrats 20 months to implement a plan that 58% of Washington State okayed recreational marijuana use. 20 months to get some dispensaries to have a couple of pounds distributed. Out of a 500-pound supply of marijuana, they've only released a small amount to these dispensaries. These people that are running the Washington State legislation don't even know how to implement a plan to make money. They know how to spend your money, but they don't know how to make money, and they've lost close to $500 million in potential profits. Now, when I get elected, if I'm top 2 and go on and win against Dave Hayes, I will absolutely work toward getting a lower tax rate for every stage of the process. Right now, it's a 25% tax on growers, 25% on distributors, and 25% on retailers. That's 75% tax. Let me ask you, Rodney, would you pay that kind of money for weed? Seriously, $25 a gram when you could get it for $8 a gram from a black market seller? Think about it. I'm just saying, if we're going to make money here in Washington, after, by the way, losing $100 million a year when we closed our state liquor offices, it's just crazy. I mean, all the legislation coming out of the Democrats, Republicans is gone mentally. It's just completely twisted. No, I don't want to smoke weed in the White House balcony. It's ridiculous. I need to help the American people, and I can't do it getting high in the White House. Now, that doesn't mean Camp David might be a cool place to hang out. Okay. You're growing it on your freeways? Well, we'd like to do that eventually. Once I become president in 2016, 2017, I'll implement a plan to actually legalize marijuana across the nation. We will remove marijuana from the list of controlled substances and set up a 25% total tax so that we won't kill the business. We don't have a show on a community channel, Neil Walton. There are no real community channels around here with open free access for us. That's another thing I'd like to correct. I'd like to see more of you guys have some time on TV, real TV, because we haven't been able to get through with the mainstream media in 6 years of nonstop broadcasting. When I told the lady from Cairo News, who interviewed me in my front yard after forcing the blackface video on my neighbor, and he said it was freedom of speech. Everybody I've talked to says it's freedom of speech. I told the lady at Cairo News that I've been doing a show for, 1,700 shows. We spent 5,000 hours of broadcasting, and it was like she could care less. What did that have to do with her mascara and her lipstick? No, they haven't run the story yet. If I get top 2, they might run the story, but since I, might not get top 2, you don't know, they might not ever run the story until I finally reappear in 2016 on the ballot in Iowa. Any number of things could happen, but I don't give up. I've always fought for everything I've ever had in my life, and I've never lost anything. I'm extremely tenacious. I come from a long line of people that are, in many ways, independent-minded. My father and I have been talking about a third party all our lives. Before he passed away in 2001, it was a big dream of ours to somehow create a third party. I know. And we don't have extremist views here. We're centrists. I'm a fiscal conservative and a social liberal. And we come to the table looking for solutions that are cost-effective and that use existing dollars. Now, I've been scrutinizing the Washington State education funding. And the truth is, every student gets $10,600, ideally, per year to go to school. Every school has about 27 students. That's every classroom has 27 students. Yeah, exactly. Every school classroom. That means there's about $300,000 coming into each classroom. Out of that, the teacher gets around 50. And thanks, Admiral. He says nobody cares about my initials. It means nothing. But you think you can get my signature for $10 donation? That's pretty funny. But every school classroom has $300,000. $50,000 goes to the teacher. We looked at the number of dollars that actually goes to the students. It's about $1,000. So I ask you, where's the missing $249,000 in every classroom in the state of Washington? And we've got other things going on too. These Democrats, Republicans have put together a charter system where private companies can get that $10,000, $600 per student per year, and milk off of it. So we have another industry of greedy education companies being born again. You see what's happening? Every time the government puts its sticky fingers into the till, they usually have corporate attachments to those sticky fingers. And they usually want to get money for somebody who's hiding behind a desk, paying them off with $5,000 donations. Governor Woodbury, then my election ramps up. If I get to a second position on this election, I ramp up big time. And we've got a couple big ideas. We've had a huge problem, folks, dealing with signs being taken and defaced and taken and destroyed. We've gone through my entire district 5 times by car, picking up and replacing signs as we go. And I already told you the Canadian-based newspaper, the Whitby News Times, misled me on an interview. The lady called me and said she'd like to interview me because I'm a third-party candidate running as a preferred Democrat. And when I got there, she basically hoodwinked me and started talking about the blackface video and then ran with that as a story. So it was deception from this Canadian newspaper, the Whitby News Times. And then I get a call from the electric company in my area saying I'm not allowed to actually post any signs on the electric poles. And she did this 2 days ago. And the electric company is owned by a Canadian firm as well. So the Canadians are controlling this local election. And I said, okay, well, we went out and we went through all the signs, pulled all the signs off any electric pole throughout the entire district. We're talking about a 50-mile stretch here. I don't think Chris Christie can take care of himself. Without a feed bag next to his face, I don't think he can even burp without vomiting. I was happy with the fact that she interviewed me. I have never read the article. I don't read any negative press about me. But I was happy with the interview. I didn't say I was happy with the article. I said I was happy with the interview. It seemed like the most wonderful interview. I walked out feeling great. She listened to all my issues that I talked about. Not one of those issues was discussed in the article, Sarah said. Maybe a couple, but that's about it. It was mostly an attack, a smear campaign against that blackface video, which I think is total freedom of speech. It's my right as an American citizen to parody the president, and you would have that right if I were president to parody me. I would encourage you to do that. So I'm really offended and shocked that these people who believe that they're somehow fighting for a democracy don't even understand the first thing of free speech or freedom of the press. We've got a real serious disconnect in the Democratic Party, and I'm sure the Republicans are no different. I'm sure their attacks on that blackface video would step up big time if I were to get top 2 tonight. Either way, this is really the litmus test for our country to see where we're at and to see how corrupt local politics is. And I can tell you, it is unbelievably corrupt. Most of the American people don't have a chance. These people are so entrenched in power that they will keep their power and their $50,000 plate dinners till you pry it from their clinging fingers. And they'll still be kicking you in the groin. Cheating, sabotage, thuggery. I can't believe what these people have been doing. I'm listening to everything you say. I had a chat with Jay Inslee, the governor of Washington, before he became governor. And I talked to him about some bathrooms that we have over by Deception Pass that are incredibly polluted with urine. But I can tell you, I asked him, I said, Jay, why don't you put something other than prison-issue toilets in one of the most important state parks in the state of Washington? Because at the time, they didn't have any lids on the toilet seats. You can imagine a stainless steel rim with no lid on it. Women would have to like squat over it. It's almost like you're in a third world country. So after I called Jay Inslee, they put lids on those toilets, but he refused to put any protective paper for women to sit on. He refused to put that in there. He refused to get any extra cleaning facilities going. These things are designed to steam clean, yet no one has ever steam cleaned these bathrooms. Thanks, Neil. I appreciate your vote of confidence. I know, Democrats made fun of Ronald Reagan, but someone does that to Obama. Oh my God, racist. Good point, Wayback Tech. Thank you. I was in the ladies' room. They're unisexual rooms. Men and women have to go to the same bathroom. This is how this setup is going on. Washington State has a huge tourism industry, and this Deception Pass area is like the premier place they come from all around the world. We get 2 million visitors. Yet we've got prison-issue toilets there that smell like a bathroom in the middle of, I'm going to say, Amarillo, Texas on a bad, hot day that has never been washed. I've been in a bad bathroom in Amarillo. But it comes down to, why don't we steam clean these things? It turns out we're paying Park Service rangers $100,000 a year, plus benefits, plus pension plans. It's unbelievable. And these guys sit on their ass doing absolutely nothing but sending me little emails saying I can't use any part of Deception Pass to put up a sign. And they sent me a RCW from Washington State saying no commercial entity can use any of the area of the Deception Pass State Park for signage. And I thought to myself, well, this is not a commercial operation. So I could have gone to the mat with that guy and got him on the phone and said, hey, buddy, you know, this is not a commercial operation. But I really didn't want to create more conflict. Thank you, Sergio, for your vote of confidence. Either way, it doesn't matter. You guys are showing your true colors as commies in the Democratic Party. And a lot of you people who are concerned about the entrenched power structure that Obama has put in play, you're going to be very happy to know that this whole thing is going to change. This whole thing, the paradigm in American politics is going to change in this next election. I wouldn't be surprised if the Republicans don't take the Senate. I'm not friends with Jay Inslee. Did I say he was my friend, hence? No, I didn't. I had an argument with the guy before he became governor, and he didn't want to do anything about toilets. I was surprised when they put the lids on the toilet. That finally happened. But can you imagine a woman going into a nice restroom that was brand new, by the way? It's brand new, fully built, ready to go, with prison-issue toilets. I just can't imagine it. I feel bad for all the people that are walking around this beautiful place, and they're all so happy, and they go in the toilet, and they're probably like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh. All right, let's talk about something other than really disgusting toilets in nice state parks.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about something else.
You work, okay, you're an American voter who could potentially vote for me, and you're offended that someone is trying to disrupt an American political conversation. No, this is an open forum. A lot of people come in here. I would allow guest chat, but we have enough chatters to keep this thing rolling without having to bring them in. I know, Raging Grover, they can't make any kind of progress with cleaning septic toilets. They can't even distribute weed properly. I don't know. These people don't seem to understand how to run the government here in Washington. I need to get my ideas out there. If I make top 2, believe me, I'll support careful plans to redistribute money that goes directly to the kids in the classroom, making smaller class sizes. We will see Obama leave at the end of the 2016 term, and I will be moving forward.
January 20th, I believe.
The illusion is quickly unruined. No one can ask me to leave my city or pressure it out, Manny. You can't pressure somebody to leave your city. I've got a hotline direct to the FBI. If this local sheriff acts out of line, I can call a representative at the FBI, and they will take the story and all the factual data that I can deliver. Believe me, there's no reason to be concerned here. These local sheriffs and police professionals have to behave professionally, or they are on a short chain with the FBI. Bottom line is they have to serve everybody equally. Despite their anger at my race for local Congress. This is very concerning. The whole idea of Toledo facing this water contamination issue. Sarah and I were in our room the other night, and we opened up a map of nuclear test sites and danger zones in the country. And Toledo was the top on the list. And then we went back to it a couple days later, and it was gone. Yet Toledo no longer can drink any water. So now people are going all over the area, even as far down as Mississippi, to buy water for Toledo. I'm a little concerned that there may have been a radioactive spill in that area and the government's not talking about it. Seriously. Holy Toledo. I've been to Toledo in our last trip across country. It was pretty disturbing. We rolled into an O'Reilly's, right around O'Reilly's takeover of the Shucks chain, that whole time period. O'Reilly's didn't even have tire inflators. And I said, how come you guys are out of tire inflators? That's like a #1 selling product, you know, to stop a leak. Hey, we don't even get distribution around here, man. Like, wow. I was shocked. We had tires, and I had to find a place. So we finally found in South Bend, Indiana. We drove all the way to South Bend, Indiana. I was filling up the tires as I went at every stop I could. We rolled into a Walmart on Saturday night at 4 o'clock, and the lady that was taking the orders was like, "One ringy dingy. Okay, can I help you?" I'm sorry, sir, I can't handle this pressure. And she was breaking down. So I calmed her down, and we got tires right before they closed at the end of the day, and they were going to be, you know, yeah, they were going to be down.
Otherwise, we'd have to stay there all weekend.
No, this is me saying hi. You can't see my arm? It's called the Statue of Liberty. Yeah, 1 more hour till the votes are counted. We'll know soon, folks. And, you know, I'm not connected in any way emotionally to the outcome. Well, if a U.S. attorney can't be held in contempt and have the illicit no ratification or reprimand, you don't think I have any power to prevent misuse of power in my own area? You don't know me, and you don't know the people I know. I can fix Maine, and I can fix Ohio, Uncle Lester. I have a lot of great ideas. Ohio itself could absolutely benefit from our homestead renewal plan. Our homestead renewal plan is pretty much fixing up houses that are condemned and foreclosed using average people making $10 an hour. No, Topper Dan, you don't know the people I know, and you don't know what I can do at a higher level to deal with local corruption. Trust me on that. I don't consort with any organized crime. Never will I ever consort with organized crime. Well, Hell's Angels, I don't want to go into the specifics because then I'd be tipping my hand, and in a good card game, you don't want to tip your hand.
Hell's Angels has said that the law is not currently functioning out.
I understand that,
correctly.
but there are laws that can be implemented at the federal level, and investigations can go on. Corruption is something that people don't like in the federal government. Even though they obviously allow it to happen, they don't like it, and it's bad for business. No, Topper Dan, none of my programs involve taxing you any more than you currently are being taxed. I actually support a flat tax. A flat tax and a fair tax of 10%. With this plan, if you make less than $100,000 a year, you wouldn't pay any income tax at all. You'd only be taxed on everything above $100,000 in income. So even people making $200,000 a year, like Uncle Lester, he's going to want to take a $100,000 tax write-off, and then he'd be paying 10% on $100,000. Your income tax would be $10,000 under this plan, Uncle Lester. Would you like that? You think it's a regressive tax. I don't believe so. In fact, I think the rich will probably end up paying more because they won't have any loopholes. You see, the furtive ground for corruption is the loopholes. All the tax deductions that lobbyists negotiate. That's why we've got 77,000 pages of tax code. With our flat, fair tax, it would be just 3 pages. 1 business, 1 corporate, and 1 individual tax return. Even nonprofits like churches would pay over $100,000 in income, 10%. Topper Dan, I studied the progressive tax code. Even if we went back to the progressive tax code without all the loopholes, we'd be fine. I'd be okay with that. I'm not that far away from what you're saying. I don't really know what your question was about China, but I'd certainly be willing to answer it if you want to question it again. If you want, yeah. I guess he can't really ask the question if he's banned.
Sorry, but...
Yeah. No, Uncle Lester, StreamUp is not open. Hangout is open. If you want to migrate to Hangout, it's youtube.com/America's Third Party.
He's saying that the Attorney General of the U.S. was held in contempt, but
without reprimand.
they didn't even reprimand him.
Look, he's too well protected by Obama. He too is an African American. He's protected by this shield of blackness, I call it, which is kind of a sad testimony to America's lack of democratic activity and free press. Because no matter what you say about Obama, you're called a racist. That's right, shield of blackness. Sorry to say that, David Nation, because I know you're African American, but he's basically been ignored. He's been given a free pass by the media simply because he's black. That's right. Well, if you like the wording, go ahead and use it in some of the poetry you write, but I'm telling you the truth. This guy does not face the questioning and scrutiny that even Richard Nixon got. He's had less press conferences than Richard Nixon's had. Yes, David Nation's an African American of Jewish descent. You like the shield of blackness? Okay, you can use it. It's an original term. I just came up with it. And it's on record over at Hangout, so you have to, you know, give me credit for it. Unlike Charlie Sheen, I'm not going to register it as a trademark. Fewer press conferences. The guy doesn't even have press conferences. Apparently, the teleprompter writers cannot write fast enough to keep up with the questions about the economy, about his failed policies overseas, about his hostility toward Vladimir Putin, which is putting us at the brink of World War III. You name it. Oh, I'm sorry. Many Jamaican Americans do not like to be called African Americans. Are you African American or Jamaican American? Okay, you're not Jamaican American. I dated a Jamaican American. She was probably the most prejudiced person I've ever met against African Americans. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen. She absolutely hated African Americans, and she said, "I'm Jamaican American. You can't be calling me African American." I'm going, really? Okay, I understand. The blackface video is on record. I've got a video playing, my 30-second response video. You can go to davidsponheim.com and hear that. It's pretty simple. The reaction is very simple. I didn't do anything wrong. I have the right to openly parody the president, as you do. I never made love to a Jamaican woman in my van. No. We never consummated our casual internet feelings for each other, this Jamaican American woman and I. She claimed to be a virgin, and I honored her virginity by not, you know what I mean. I don't need to go down that road.
Really raging Grover.
Yeah, so I'm not in any way a racist. I've been falsely accused by people that don't even understand freedom of speech, the very thing our nation was predicated on.
He did at one time, Utah Dave, not anymore. He met me in London. That's it.
No, I actually had about 5 internet dates, 4 of which were horrible, and the wonderful Sarah came into my life. The first one was the worst ever. She was an alcoholic who was 5'1" and weighed 200 pounds when I finally met her.
I did advocate putting troops in Ukraine
at
the onset because I simply wanted to protect Ukraine from an invasion by Russia, not that I wanted to go into Russia. Wouldn't that have done a lot to put us in danger of escalating tensions with Russia and putting us into the brink of World War III? No, I don't believe that it would have escalated tensions with Russia any more than our fiscal, all of our we put all these kinds of fiscal holds on their money, and I think that has increased tension with Russia as much as any kind of
worse parity
system in Ukraine.
Military parity is what we were referring to at that time.
At that time. Now that time has elapsed and that did not occur, and we're in a new situation. I believe that Ukraine and Russia will work things out on their own.
Okay. I'm going to show a little bit of information here for people.
Thank you, Ricky Roma.
I've got a very interesting solution to providing aid to any area that's affected by any disaster, including America, of course, because obviously America is #1. I'm putting a picture over at Hangout, and I'm putting a picture over at our other broadcast, multicast event. And the picture is a very simple picture I took in 2008, an idea I've mentioned a lot of times in our room, and I might as well bring it up.
Just make sure that's showing up on camera correctly.
Yep, I'm going to reverse that. There you go. Dropping food and water.
Oh, it is. Wait, it might be already. I don't know. Yeah, it is.
Good.
Okay.
Dropping food and water in areas that are war-torn from an airplane is a heck of a lot easier than loading tons of food on a rail car to be guarded by warlords and then end up rotting because they're using it as currency.
Well, and another thing, I mean, now they do sometimes drop food and water from an airplane, but they do it in these huge cargo containers that actually when they land, they can land on people. And then when they land, the warlords go and intercept them and then have all this access to all this food in one location.
People can forage. Many of these people do. Forage
if it
for
were like
food.
you show in this video,
Mm-hmm.
it could be spread out over a wide area.
Yep.
And so then people could forage for it.
And I've talked about making these products out of biodegradable materials. So after about 6 months, the plastic would eventually break down. The water would drip into the other bags, and
it could even be made from that plastic that's
cornstarch.
made of cornstarch,
Right.
so that it could biodegrade eventually.
This is an idea I came up with in 2008 that, if implemented, would provide immediate relief to areas like Katrina. Any place that's facing an immediate need for air aid would get immediate food supplies this way. Thank you, Tiger Woods, for your concern about cornstarch.
And no, I'm not a biologist, however, I have studied some biology.
The idea is very simple but highly effective, and we don't need to get involved in local politics to do this. We can give direct aid to areas around the world that are in dire need of aid. Now, if there was an Ebola outbreak in Africa, would I want to send our troops in? No. What I would do right now, in fact, is cut off airline travel from Africa into our country. What is Obama doing? He's urging the CDC to bring Ebola victims into our country. So I have a different view on this entirely, and I believe that this Ebola outbreak could be a potential international pandemic if they don't control it properly. Even Uganda was admitting the other day that they didn't properly handle 8 patients. One guy went out and talked to a bunch of people. They're now all dying. They didn't even handle the people right. So we have very serious problems going on in Africa right now that Obama is importing into our country in Tyvek suits. It's crazy. He's bringing Ebola to the United States every day now. Thank you. So I would end all international travel from Africa. You couldn't come from Africa into our country even through a connection line. You couldn't even make it into the country.
Yes, well, that's exactly right.
Well, the Black Shield doesn't work that way. You see, Barack Obama and Eric Holder are using their blackness to evade any questions about Fast and Furious. He calls it executive privilege. I call it no one wants to be called a racist, so they don't question him on anything. And you Democrats are the worst offenders. You've got a president that is literally ruining your party, ruining the history, the legacy of the Democratic Party, and all the things that Andrew Jackson and others have put together to build that party. You're basically letting it fall apart because of a guy who likes to lie to you and lie to the rest of the country and read off a teleprompter. We're watching before us every day history unfold. The downfall of America is going on right now under our nose, and you Democrats don't even have the balls to impeach the guy. You won't even listen to Republicans. You won't even enter into a discussion on Obamacare. You just force it down our throats and act like you've got some sort of potential control over government. It's lagging. Okay, Ricky. Thank you. Bogmaster says Democrats are notoriously ballless. Interesting. No, it doesn't work for disease, poverty, repression. The Black Shield only works for truth-seeking. You can't seek the truth if you face the Black Shield, which is constructed now in Washington. I don't have a problem with another African American becoming president. I don't have a problem with anyone, Hispanic, Asian even, becoming president. I have a problem with our country being manipulated by an overly concerned sense of political correctness to the point where we don't even question any of his failed policies, like Benghazi, or this joke of an event that they call Abbottabad, where we don't even see a picture of Osama bin Laden's dead body to this day.
Not that I'm aware of, Mad Dog.
Thanks, Utah Dave. But I have it on good authority that Bill Clinton was not our first black president. He's actually a direct descendant of Jacob Rothschild, in case you're wondering. The DREAM Act is definitely a cancer to our borders. What Rick Perry installed in Texas and what Jerry Brown put together, their DREAM Acts, are siphoning tax dollars out of the U.S. taxpayer to pay for college educations for non-U.S. citizens and illegal aliens. It's absolutely insane. When a guy like me couldn't even get an affordable education, let alone a scholarship, with the top scores in my high school, the top scores, the top 98% in the country, I couldn't get any scholarship money. It's crazy. So now we're just handing that over to illegal aliens, and now in Washington we have to, mandated by Obama, we have to take care of their children, even if they're homeless. The children can come into classrooms and teach. Teachers are faced with the question, do they have AIDS? Do they have Ebola? You're not allowed to ask. You're not allowed to ask if that kid has AIDS. They could have contagious diseases. The teacher's not allowed to ask. We're headed toward a disaster. Our nation is leached now. All of our resources, education, medical, food stamps, welfare, Section 8, everything is being leached by these non-U.S. citizens who are just sucking us dry. No, Topper Dan, I'm not overstating the brilliance at all. It's all in the record. Everything I've said is true. The diseases like tuberculosis, HIV, herpes, rabies, cantaloupe ganoche, thank you. You'd have no idea how long it took me to catch these packages, to take this photograph. Not to mention the cost to fly a 707 over my head. Actually, I did that in Photoshop. It took me about 15 minutes. Anyway, that's the concept, providing immediate relief. And this goes back to 2003, when George W. Bush decided to change the nature of FEMA into an organization that no longer focused primarily on food supplies for people, but really focused on just stopping people who are dangerous to the government. FEMA's directive changed in 2003, and that's why in 2005, when Katrina hit, there was a tremendous backlash among the American people about FEMA's lack of responsivity, their inability to provide services. It took 5 days for the people at the Superdome in New Orleans to get supplies while they were living and sleeping in their own urine and defecant, without water or any food. This would have solved that problem. FEMA, under my command, will be retasked to deliver regional food supplies and have good, strong food supplies available in every region to deliver immediate help and relief to any nation, any part of our nation that's facing a disaster. Additionally, I will change their directive to no longer focus on a Department of Homeland Security directive stopping dangers to our country. Rather, it should be preventing loss of life and making sure that there's no FEMA camps per se. All fencing around the FEMA camps will be removed in 2017 and sent to the south border. We will then take all that metal fencing and we will begin constructing a 1,000-mile fence along the south border with Mexico. It'll be constructed with very low-cost prison labor, all of which are illegal aliens that are currently costing our nation $25 billion a year. And those illegal aliens will be tasked to build the fence for $1 a day. And when they're done with about a 2-month stint of work, we'll rotate new people in, and we will be able to build this fence for very, very low cost, by the way, and give them their freedom, and we'll probably give them a nice little backpack full of toiletries and a towel and some clothing. It'll be wonderful. You love the idea? I know. Even people who are conspiracy theorists are saying, yeah, take down those FEMA camp fences. And I say to Mr. Obama, Mr. Obama, tear down those FEMA camp fences. That's right.
You want David to get on
Thank
Stream
you.
Up?
Ed, we're not doing Stream Up tonight. We got a lot of things happening. We're on Hangout right now. If you don't like it, try to get into Hangout, Ed. You could be the first person to get in there.
Google Plus. I'm not sure exactly how to do it.
Uncle Lester is telling Ed, who is collecting disability because of his mental issues, work will set you free. Well, I could have told Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. But I didn't do that. Mr. Obama, tear down those FEMA fences. Well, we don't need to store the zombies anywhere. You know, this is the question I have, Meow TV. Why would we want to move contaminated people with diseases? Why would we want to put them in rail cars, buckle to the rail car, and send them to FEMA camps? Why would we want to move anyone with a contagious disease? Could you answer that for me? Because that's called spreading contamination. Well, I think it's youtube.com/America's Third Party. All right, well, thank you. I'm a doer. I'm also a talker. I like to talk and do at the same time. And I can scratch my back at the same time, too. I mean, we are trying to build a political party in the minds of the American people. And as we do that and convince them that we need a political party that will represent the American people, we will be doing something. David, but you have to be kidding me. Running for president? I've been running for president for the past 8 years. 6 years, actually. But we built America's Third Party 6 years ago. Prior to that, we had the Cool Rock Party, which was dedicated to finding renewable energy solutions to the planet, all of which we still believe are very important to building production in America. You see, we haven't had any traction in our economy. We have a very unsustainable economy that's simply printing up money every single day. You know, now that Janet Yellen is the federal chairman of the Federal Reserve, she's still doing the same thing Ben Bernanke is doing. I mean, he might as well have become a cross-dresser and changed his name to Janet, because she's now doling out $65 billion per month to the mortgage-backed securities, which are basically a lot of fat, really rich Wall Street executives who are sitting there going, well, I need to get more money because my money's worth less now. So we give them printed money out of thin air, and thank you, Hells Angels, but that's not my issue. We're giving them money out of thin air, which weakens our dollar, makes it worth less and less. The more they print, the less our value of our dollar in our pocket is. Thank you, Ed. I know Wayback Tech. Why should the government be suing states that have jurisdiction over illegal aliens? You're right. I know. Wayback Tech, I'm pissed off too. I'm WTF on that one as well. I would never stop a governor like Rick Perry from getting the necessary support he needs to guaranteed security at the border. Thanks, Topper Dan. I know. You didn't promise me anything, Froggy, or them. You didn't promise me anything at all. And please don't make lies in our room. I'm an honest person. I don't expect you to lie in my room. I'm not in a place to like inflation. I'm very angry that our country continues to print up money out of thin air and give it to fat Wall Street pigs. I have a problem with that. And it's ironic that those are the people that want more and more of printed money because they think that the value of the dollar is declining. You see, it's a loop. It's a downward cycle. Inflation, printed money, inflation, printed money. The numbers are in. Great. Thanks, Utah Dave. Here we go. You want to go to that site, or you have it up?
Yeah, I have it right here.
Here we go.
You'll refresh.
I'm still seeing 0 across the board.
Yeah, I'm still seeing 0 as well.
Yeah, we're still seeing 0 across the board.
I said at 8 p.m., which is about half an hour away.
All right, I'm going to take a quick break. You guys can talk to Sarah at the Google Hangout. She can get to know you better, and I will be right back. Thank you.
Wasn't that a quote from Andrew Jackson? Hells Angels that you're posting?
I know. If the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their currency, first by inflation,
Jefferson, thank you, Thomas
then by
Jefferson.
deflation, the bank and corporations that will grow up around them will deprive the people of all property until their children wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered. I believe the banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than standing armies. They should be taken from the banks and restored to the people to whom it properly belongs. Thomas Jefferson, thank you. I truly support Jeffersonian democracy, but I also recognize the need for our republic to stand strong. And right now we've got Democrats who support a kind of a political correctness, a sense of collectivism, which is trying to destroy the freedom of speech that this country was predicated on. And I really believe that they don't even know it, but they're unwitting dupes of a Marxist takeover of their party. I know that sounds really weird, but when you look at the roots of Saul Alinsky and the Democratic Socialists, you realize that they've got one plan, and that is to maintain power at all costs, regardless of what they do to people. And their goal is to deny individual freedom and force us into a collective. Deny us our freedom of speech, which they're trying to do right now with this attack on me as a racist. Their true colors are flying, and I pulled them out. Peach Air Plum. You're really one of those. You really don't understand what's happening. I pulled you out of your little cave while you tried to take our country away from us, and the people are rallying behind me. America needs to borrow money because we're so deep in debt, and these Democrats and Republicans are spending it like crazy. God.
Yeah, I didn't read that that article, Michael Lester, but okay, thank you. Yeah, David is taking a bit of a break, and for some reason, I mean, I'm refreshing the page where the results are supposed to be coming in, and I don't see any results coming in yet. None. Where are you getting the election results from? I am working on yes, well, Obama just sent Israel over 200 million. It's like $225 million he sent them, yeah, for their Iron Dome defense shield. Well, okay, Manny. I mean, I don't know what to say to you. I know that David's posted signs. He's showed you some of the signs, so that's it. Okay. All right, and then we affiliated. I don't think I'll ever put my chair on eBay. Who paid for the Iron Dome? It was a joint funding between the U.S. and Israel. Okay, I'm glad you're not trolling. Thank you. Yeah, we're losing jobs, and he's sending millions and billions around the world. It's pretty crazy. Actually, I should. Oh, well, he's not lying, but I don't think he's complained about it to the city hall. Thank you, Utah Dave. I'll give you the link I have been using for the election results. David identified with them because he was a Democrat for 30 years, and he was a Democrat for 30 years, and that he knows that this area is a very heavily Democratic area. Between you and your significant other, you're probably supporting a small family on the taxes you pay, probably. Sorry. We're working on it. chemtrail mix. For some reason, I don't see the results coming in yet, and I'm refreshing my browser, so thank you. So they're not. Number of registered voters, 50,000. There you go. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have banned that person if he actually gave me a link to actual election results, but thank you very much, Uncle Lester, as well. Well, we are giving money all over the world, it's true, and you're right that homeless people in the U.S. don't get a lot. Thank you, I love Linux. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's like they can't send the money to fix Detroit, but they send the money to Israel. It's pretty crazy. I don't actually know what the Google Hangout link is. I'm going to have to do some more research on it. I mean, I just started this YouTube Live event yesterday, and I can give you the YouTube Live event and see if you can get into the chat room from there, Ed. So I'll do that much for you. You say we do it in order to support American interests. Aren't American interests here in the United States, Dan?
Yeah.
Why are we sending it to other countries?
Yeah, we need that money here.
I know, we do need to focus here on America.
You know what $500 million would do for Americans in cities around our country right now? Obama wants to get $500 million to send to Syrian rebels to kidnap Christians. 500 million would help so many different help houses, and it would start to build homes or even instigate our homestead renewal plan with that kind of money. $500 million, and he just throws it out there like he wants it from Congress to give to a bunch of rebel al-Qaeda forces in Syria. It's absolutely insane. I polled really well in Skagit? Great. Thank you, Uncle Lester. I'm so glad. Thanks for checking that out. I appreciate it.
I pulled up the island one that you did, but this is zero.
Jet, this is the primary. This isn't the final roll. I have to go to November if I make the top two. If not, hey, I'm on to 2016. Either way.
Top two, and then we go into the general election in November.
Uncle Lester, America can really use $500 million. Americans on the streets of America would probably benefit from $500,000. I mean, can you imagine walking around with a $50 bill to everybody on the streets in America? And you'd see people light up going, I could buy myself something nice. You'd see their entire life would change with $50. I know. Why is Obama giving Africa $33 billion? So we've got a lot of priorities that are not made clear. $24 billion is what this nation needs to build its ailing infrastructure of bridges and roads. That's what the estimates are, $24 billion. We put $38 billion on a rail car headed for Baghdad, and it disappeared. Yeah, $38 billion on a rail car to Baghdad, gone. But we only need $24 billion to fix our bridges, like the one in Minnesota that broke down. Or the one over here in Mount Vernon that they spent $30 million on to repair a small area of the bridge. I could have built a replacement bridge with Legos for $50,000. They spent $30 million on it. It's unbelievable. A lot of the people in government right now have no idea what really is the cost of building and improving things. I often talk about the $1,000 per linear foot cost for railing along our Deception Pass Bridge. I talked to the director of transportation for WSDOT, and he told me It cost $1,000 a linear foot to put some railing up because there was no competitive bid, he said. And I said to him, why didn't you just contract it yourself? Get some rocks and some poles and some cement and some wire. Do it yourself. $1,000 a linear foot. It could have been built out of titanium for that price. Pork barrel, waste of money, pet projects like my competitor Dave Hayes. Basically, this area got sold a bill of goods on a ferry. I could tell you the whole story if you have time. There was a ferry that ran from our island to the mainland, or to an area called Port Townsend. It was called the Klickitat. And it started showing a little bit of damage at the bottom, a little rust. It was a 1920s era ferry, the Klickitat. And it served the area for a long time. Well, the former state Senate member, Mary Margaret Haugen, who Sarah ran against in 2008, and she ended up getting 5% of the vote. I know. Well, we don't owe that money, Shyster. I'll get to that in a little bit. Klickitat was junked to some Mexican organization for scrap metal. A beautiful ferry that had, it was immaculate. Sarah and I were on it. I said, Sarah, this is beautiful. Dave Hayes is the guy I'll be running against if I get to top 2. Dave Hayes looked at that, and then they went ahead and ordered another replacement ferry. They contacted Martha's Vineyard, which is an area that had a ferry built out there. They bought the plans from Martha's Vineyard for $1.5 million instead of making their own plans. Martha's Vineyard is on the East Coast. They took an East Coast ferry design and put it on the West Coast, and it's so top-heavy that it picks up wind. Well, the original cost would have been $15 million to replace the Klickitat, but by the time they got done building it, cost $42 million. So what did Dave Hayes do? He ordered another one for $42 million. Seriously.
With the same design.
With the same design that's top-heavy. It picks up the wind. They can barely control it in the channel, the Straits of Juan de Fuca, which is right outside of the Puget Sound, where we are on the island of Whidbey Island. Dave Hayes ordered another one, another waste of $42 million. Probably because the contractor said, hey, Dave, what do you say we put in another one for you? Oh, yeah. Pure cronyism. Pure cronyism. These people are the bane of corruption in Washington. They are the ones that have to be ousted from office, and we need to have fiscally minded people who understand the importance of small business, the importance of growing and nurturing cottage industries on this island and in Camano Island as well as Stanwood and Conway. All these areas are part of my district. One of the most beautiful areas of terrain in the world. I should show you guys a Google map of where we are looking at here. When I drove through our district, could you believe how beautiful it was?
Oh, it is gorgeous.
I couldn't believe.
I think it's one of the most pretty areas in the entire world.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Where we've got great trees and water and farms.
Oh, the farms are like 150 years old. The farmers out there work really hard near our area. They've managed their life with austerity, and they put their trust and faith in the government officials that just squander their tax dollars. It's unbelievable.
Thank you, Uncle Lester. Go to.
Is there a way of looking at this with pictures?
Street view. Yeah, there is a way. I can't remember.
Okay.
Switch views up at the top right, maybe, or top left. There's Earth.
Earth.
Down there.
Okay. There we go. Okay. All right. I'll show you the district from above, so you can take a look at it here. Thank you, everyone, for coming into our Hangout as well. We have recorded our shows because we really think that they're really important to record now, being we're headed into the home stretch toward a local election and toward the 2016 election. We want all of you to be a part of that.
This is our island that Dave is zooming in on.
Yeah, actually, let me take a
At
second
least
picture.
in one of our views.
Yeah, I don't know how close I'll be able to get to this, but this is kind of the area that I'll be covering, my district. And I live right around here in Oak Harbor.
Here's our harbor.
Yeah, let's see how clear we can get. Get down in there. Get down on it. That's the
there's
the
waterway.
Oak Harbor Marina.
Marina, yeah.
At one time in the 1940s, the Navy wanted to dredge this area to create a harbor for ships, but they found out that when they tried to blow up the rocks that were in the harbor here, where my cursor is,
It's pretty shallow water. If you go down a little bit, it's like you can see how shallow it is. There's only one deep waterway out
yeah,
of the harbor, really. And, so to get out of the harbor,
well, they encountered rocks right in this area that
Yeah.
were the size of large buildings,
it looks like it. You can
and
only
they
see
couldn't
it
actually blow it up.
Google Earth.
They couldn't dredge it, so it remained a small little Oak Harbor Marina, and the Navy base has this whole area outside of there. That's all government property. The Admiral lives over here, and as you come out, you're looking at the south end of the island, which is primarily people concerned about the environment. They tend to be more liberal. All the way down this long island of Whidbey Island, this is all my territory. Holmes Harbor, I've worked this entire island as an advertiser, selling video to real estate agents, doing video work for the real estate agents along this area. A lot of good times Sarah and I have had going up and down, beachcombing. This whole area is part of my district, but we're talking some of those beautiful pieces of land in the country, no doubt. Farmland everywhere. And if you ever want to come to one of the neatest areas,
Camino Island.
Deception Pass is up here, where the water, right up there at the top, the water has a connection there. And there's a land bridge over here called Deception Pass. There's Fidalgo Island.
Wow, server crashed. Wow.
Anyway,
A little bit south of there, like right in there.
yeah, right in there is the Deception Pass. It's like a small opening.
Right there.
Right there.
It's
That
right
you're
there.
looking at it. This is Deception Pass, everybody. That's
a
the bridge right there. That's the one that's on all my posters that I showed you. Obama won Island County by 4 points. Wow, I didn't know Obama was in the election. Okay. All right, you're getting a 404 as well. That's nice. So that's Deception Pass, and this is one of the most beautiful places in the country.
Look at all those trees.
Look at all these
it's
trees.
amazing.
I mean, we drive through here all the time, going
And that's the
around.
Skagit River over there.
And that's the Skagit River. This goes all the way over to Mount Vernon. This is all part of my district. This is all farmland. These people are all part of a series of farms that have been around for centuries. And then we go down the island, Stanwood, all of that's beautiful. Sarah and I drove through this area, and we were stunned by how much beauty they had.
It is really good.
Camino Island is right off the coast of Whidbey Island, so that's another island. That's where my competitor lives. He lives in Camino Island, I believe. Now,
Mine does.
the interesting thing about the Stanwood area right here is this is almost comprised mostly of Norwegians, like
Norwegian
myself.
farmers.
Norwegian farmers, and they'll see the name Sponheim on the ballot, and they'll go, "Oh yeah, I know Lars Sponheim from Norway. Lars Sponheim ran for the Interior Minister in Norway a couple of years ago as a centrist. He's not a blood relative, but he's a relative by name. But I went to the high school there to drop off some information, and the high school, it was like looking at mini-me's. I would walk around. I know I should do well with the Norwegians. I was like walking around looking at mini-me's back when I was in high school. It was the weirdest experience for me, because I saw these young guys that looked just like me, and I could see all the lust, or not lust, but zeal in their eyes to someday go out and do something and find out that they're Caucasian and that they won't get any scholarship funds. I didn't want to tell them, you know, hey guys, you better start saving your money, but bottom line is if you're white, you won't get any real support to go to college. That's something I'd like to change.
These are old farms.
No, there wasn't lust. I knew you'd go after that one, Uncle Lester. It was zeal. It was kind of like a zeal of, what am I going to do, you know, my life. And I mean, they're so young, I'm really upset. Wow. Why am I really upset? David, have you thought about white nationalism?
No.
No. We would never, I don't feel superior to African Americans or Hispanics or anyone like that. I don't want to be solely into one ethnicity. I support the idea of integration as well. And you guys who are white nationalists stand in opposition to that. All right, thanks for coming by and checking out my neighborhood. This is kind of like Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, but one of the most beautiful districts in the world. And I'd be happy to represent the people here. Yes, I think he is, room service. I think he is.
As far as I know.
I think his entire shtick is still going online. No, there's not a lot of mini-me's at the sperm bank. No, I didn't do that in college. I remember reading an ad in the Whitby Bruin, or the Bruin, UCLA Bruin, that said, looking for sperm donors for Genius Pool. This is 1977, 78. And I just didn't want to do it. I felt really weird about it. Had I done it, I think I would have made $30 or $35 per insemination. It's just the whole idea is abhorrent to me to have to, you know, go do that. I didn't. Even though I needed money in college, I actually saw ads. Because Sarah and I were saying, she said, David, how did you get through college on a small amount of money? Because I only had about $55 to last an entire year at UCLA.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, that's all the money I had.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I believe you, but it's hard to believe.
The first year was paid for by, half of it was by an inheritance from my grandmother rather, and the other half was money that my mother put into it, $1,500. And I had only $55 to live on a whole year. Most of that went to the bus service to get from UCLA to where I was living with where my family had a house, just to visit them on holidays. Yeah. Oh, I went through 2 years of college at UCLA. I didn't finish because of the Marxists that were forcing me to regurgitate their garbage. I really don't appreciate your extreme right-wing position. Yeah, I'm going to purge that statement because we have a zero tolerance for racism here. And that may be funny to all of you Democrats who are in here calling me a racist. Many of you are just guests and can't even talk in our show. You can also get an account at Vaughn and participate in this show. Well, right after college, that first year, I checked out because I wanted to feel what it was like to live in the real world. I felt at the time when I was about 18 that I had lived a somewhat sheltered middle-class existence. So I essentially bought a VW van. I paid for it out of money I had borrowed from my mother at the time. I borrowed $1,500 to buy a VW van, which was essential for my first job. And I bought it, and I paid her back, by the way, for the VW van. And I used that van to deliver T-shirts to rock stars like John Cougar Mellencamp. He was called John Cougar at the time. And I worked for a T-shirt distribution company for about 8 years after that time period. And during that time period, I lived in my van down by the beach in Venice.
Thank y'all.
And I had a lot of great experiences. I pretty much made a vow of poverty, really. I didn't want to be some rich kid, because I wasn't rich at all, but I didn't want to feel like I was some sort of like Obama was catered to as a child. I don't want to ever feel that way. I never wanted to feel like I was handed everything on a silver platter. So I actually did a lot of soul searching and made a vow of poverty. And then I worked at that T-shirt job. And during that same time period, I also took on a second job at Bullock's department store for Christmas time. And then I worked at a major theater as an usher. So I was working 3 jobs at 18, bringing down about $20,000 a year, right out of my first year. And so I thought things were rolling along great. At the time, it seemed like a good thing to do, but then I realized I needed to get back to college. So in 1988, I went back to UCLA to continue trying to get my degree. It's not like I gave up or anything. And I could only afford to drive 30 miles from my home out there near San Pedro, California. And it was an insane drive. I would leave in the morning at 5:30 in the morning to get there by 6:30 to walk around or drive around literally looking for a parking spot on Gailey Avenue because I couldn't afford paid parking at UCLA. It took me about an hour and 15 minutes to find parking, and by the time I got to my classroom, it was 5 minutes late at 8 o'clock. So it was almost unbelievable. It was a year of hell. And then I'd encounter Marxist professors that were just over the top, espousing Marxism left and right. We recorded the segment, Rodney. It'll be all in the archives on YouTube. But I normally don't talk about my personal life, but I thought tonight would be a good night to talk about it. I'm not talking to a waitress from China City. Uncle Lester, you're making all this up. John Cougar had a Harley buddy, was an English teacher. Oh, okay. Yeah, John Cougar was not John Cougar Mellencamp at the time. He was John Cougar. Okay, Oak Harbor, 382 homes for sale. Everyone is leaving for some reason. Let's take a look at that. Go there and find out what Manny has uncovered. Thank you, Manny. Manny made a comment to me last night that I needed to spend more time looking at the camera. I totally agree. And oftentimes I've got two cameras here, so when I look at the Google Hangout camera, it's like I'm looking at you, and when I'm looking at the other camera, I'm looking at the other camera. But he made a comment that my eyes were darting around too much, and I'd really rather talk to you because you're in the chat room. And Hangout viewers are watching me in archive. It's a listing of homes in sale, yeah. A lot of homes for sale right now.
I think that might take a few days, so...
We're not going to wait for the 100% to come in, but whatever the lady says who calls up from the Skagit Herald, I'll take her response. You said I had lying eyes, that they were dancing? I was reading chat at the time, Manny. You can't always read chat and interact with countless people during a show without looking at the chat log itself. So if my eyes drift down, it's because I'm reading the chat. Anyway.
Exactly.
Let's talk about all the Muslim children who have died in the recent attacks against Hamas by Israeli forces. Let's briefly talk about that because we do know that Hamas and the Islamic jihadists have been hiding among children to somehow gain an advantage over the Israeli forces, and Israeli forces have had to take innocent children out in the process. What's happening in Israel is one of two things. We're seeing a general purging going on every 2 years. Remember in 2009, about 1,170 people died, many of which, 561 of which were children. In 2012, 170, I believe, died in another Israeli attack. You're seeing 2 to 3 year shifts here. 2014, another 1,000 or more have died recently until the 72-hour ceasefire. I think what's going on is Israel is trying to gain the upper hand on what appears to be secret shipments of Scud missiles through the Egyptian border into Gaza Strip. And they're trying to interdict here to make sure these people, these Islamic jihadists, don't have the upper hand and have more missiles. I don't approve of the $225 million sale that Obama just put forth to try to give $225 million to Israel to get a weapons defense system like the one they have already. I think that was ridiculous. They should have paid for it themselves. Israel should have. But it seems that Obama was so closely tied at the hip with the contractor that produced that weapons defense system that it went forward anyway. Israel has received over $225 billion, ironically, in funds since their inception, adjusted for inflation, and now they get $225 million on top of a terrible, disastrous human rights attack. I would have implemented a strategy to cut back the funding that we give every single year to Israel and made sure that they understood that their actions against innocents has a definite price to pay. We're recording on
YouTube.
YouTube, that's right. I would defend Israel with all of our air power if they were ever attacked. I still consider Israel an ally, but in no way would I condone the type of innocents being killed in these strikes. I think that they should use better methods at targeting their enemy, perhaps even sending people in undercover. And I'm surprised that they aren't working diligently on that. That way they could get signals on the ground to match the telemetry of the aerial reconnaissance that they have and then target with surgical strikes the enemy. Because there are people that want to destroy Israel living within Gaza. We know that for a fact. So there's a very complicated situation going on, but it does seem like there's like a 2 to 3 year purge going on. David, is it cool if I call into your local radio as you write?
As you.
As you? No, you cannot represent me, Rodney. You can't even duplicate my voice. I can do your voice.
Hi, Sarah. How's the lovely Sarah tonight? When's the show start, Dave?
I mean, I can do your voice, but you can't do mine. And then there's, of course,
Hey, discount. Why you get a job?
this could be the call. Nope, no call. We're still waiting for the call from the Skagit Herald. Anyway, we are recording this, so whatever the outcome is, I'll take my lumps and move on. I do want to represent the people in this area, this district, but I also want to run for president in 2016. So if it's a victory interview, that would be awesome. If it's a non-victory interview, that's okay too, because it gives me a chance to talk about the cronyism that led to this. I mean, they've resorted to the worst possible tactics any group has ever done. These Democrats have been stealing my signs. Vandalism. You have a speech? Good. Can you imagine? We've been putting up signs left and right and having them taken down almost on a daily basis. Sarah and I have been rolling through these areas, putting up signs as they've been taken down.
Yes, 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 says if you do win, you must not mention the stolen signs. You must say, I'm glad to move on to the top 2,
Right.
and I hope that the voters stand by me. And
Yeah, I will. I'll say that. I'll overlook the entire atrocity
I look forward to the
that has
general
occurred.
election campaign, and I just want everyone to know that they can interact with me on a nightly basis
Yeah, there you go.
via my website, davidsponheim.com.
I think I'm going to have you do my victory speech for me, because you got it down, man. That's great.
And I really look forward to serving I look forward to the opportunity to serve the people of the 10th Legislative District.
Yeah, I will too.
Good
So-
idea. Don't mention the stolen signs.
Well,
But-
only if
but
I lose second position. If I lose
no,
second
if
position,
you win second position.
if I win, I won't mention it.
Right. Exactly.
I've got a picture here of Obama that's got to be the biggest, most pasted up picture that I've ever seen. I'll play it over here for you too.
So all that matters is that David does get more than me, Uncle Lester. Even though I was in a 3-way race.
Yeah, I'm in a 4-way race.
Yeah.
You see if I can get this picture. I'll show you this picture. I'm playing it on both networks right now. This is one of the funniest paste-up pictures I've ever seen of Obama. All these came out when they claimed Barack Obama was the president of the Law Review. And you can clearly see his face was pasted on it. I've got another picture here that's even more convincing. This is a group picture showing Obama at Harvard Law. Now, I believe that Barack Obama did not actually serve as president of the Harvard Law Review. This is a clear paste-up. Let me blow it up for everybody. You can clearly see the lighting is all off. His head's too large against the head next to him. It's just a complete made-up picture. So why did the CIA work on these poster pictures that clearly are not what they seem to be? Why did they put him in power without even having any evidence that he actually was president of the Law Review? Well, there's a picture that I have unearthed from a magazine. There's a series of articles, rather, that I've unearthed from a magazine. And that magazine is Gentleman's Quarterly. And
Oh, you're fine, BT Laura.
it was an article right after Obama would have been in power as president of the Law Review. And it was all about minorities at Harvard. And I have this article, and I'm going to do a video about it on the internet. I haven't done it yet, but let me briefly show you
Oh, yeah.
the picture of this magazine. It's a Gentleman's Quarterly. I have many copies of it.
I
So
actually read the article.
yeah, you read the article. And it was all about, and I'll rotate it for all of you guys. Sit on it and rotate. Okay, here we go. This has Magic Johnson on the front of it. It's an article at the top of the magazine that talks about the Harvard Law Review and the Harvard Law School, and it's all about minorities at Harvard. And it occurred 1 year after Barack Obama allegedly was president of the Law Review. Well, there's not one mention of Barack Obama in the entire article. So I ask you, how could he have been a member of the Harvard Law Review, let alone president, without even a mention of him?
Right, I know, it's very
in an article in Gentleman's Quarterly. I mean, how is that possible? So I'm going to be doing a video about that coming up, and we'll go into the details about how we've been lied to. No one can access his documents, no one can access any of his college transcripts, nothing. What is he hiding? The very first executive order he passed in 2008 when he became president. Good point, yes, yes, yes. The very first executive order barred anyone from actually looking at any record he ever had. Why would a person do that if they were completely honest? The only reason why they would do it if they were lying, hiding something. And he's hiding a whole lot. I know Meoff. And a lot of people in America who voted for Mitt Romney really were disappointed that Mitt Romney didn't take on the illegal alien issue with Barack Obama's status from Kenya. Even Donald Trump asked Mitt Romney to just open it up to a question, and he might have gotten more votes, because I know a lot of independents decided not to vote for Mitt Romney because he wouldn't even open it up to a question. 30% of our country still doesn't believe Obama is a legal U.S. citizen. And I know you Democrats are steaming in your chairs right now going, how can he say these things? This man is a total racist. It's not old history. Obama stands in the way of our nation succeeding. You Democrats have put him in power, and he's become a bigger obstacle than George W. Bush was. Not only does he not address issues in a timely manner, he engages in a process of damage control across the board without ever really addressing all the concerns that people have about the facts out there. Like the Congressional Budget Office did say that Obamacare would cost $1 trillion. Obama denied that there would be taxes, and Chief Justice Roberts insisted it was a tax. You'd have to pay $2,500 if you didn't have it. Obama ran under the premise that he would never have mandatory health insurance, and here we have mandatory health insurance for people who qualify. It's just crazy. And no, he never answers any questions. And he's using the black shield that he's hiding behind. No questions asked. No one wants to question anything. Obama loses big in Washington. Blog says, CNN reporting. Blackfacer loses big in Washington State House race. Thank you. Well, hey, if I lost this round, there's always round 2. But we'll see what the Herald says in just a few minutes. We're all waiting for the results. Not really, Hell's Angels. We have to get to the bottom of why the Democrats didn't vet this guy, why we've been held hostage as a nation, why our economy can't gain traction, why he has done absolutely nothing to solve homelessness. He doesn't even mention homelessness, and now we've got double the amount of homeless people than we had under George W. Bush. Yeah, it's just crazy. It was the media's job to vet him? I'm sorry, but it was Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid's job to vet him. And they'll be the first named in the lawsuit. That's right. If I win the presidency in 2016 to take over, we'll be initiating an investigation into this. You people don't even realize it. You Democrats who voted for him still don't realize that there's countless questions about his authenticity. Every single question out there is furtive and full of people with expertise and know exactly what they're doing.
That is not seen as a heroic act against a state EPA.
Yeah, we're not going to go there. Anyway, I'm not really concerned of the outcome of this particular local election, even though I really want to help the people of Washington State cut the budget and solve the key problems facing our local area. I don't want jets flying over my head all the time. I want a more holistic approach toward the jet travel. I'm really angry that they took down our sign in the area of OLF, the outlying field area where they do the touchdowns of the F-18s, the Growlers. I'm angry that these things are putting out 120 decibels, enough to cause irreparable damage to your liver. They fracture your liver. I'm serious. And a study is being conducted right now. Here we go. Well, it looks like I haven't made it.
Well, this is just the first vote, so I don't know how.
Well, that's close.
And
Yeah, it looks like I've only got 17% of the vote. Missed it by that much. Yeah. So what's the total in right now?
I don't see the total.
I made a strong showing, though. I got 2,400 votes so far, which is 17%.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you know.
14,000 are in.
14,000 are in. Well, we're expecting
Haven't counted.
50,000 votes. We'll see. So I'll be running with the negative campaign argument that I was sabotaged. Thank you, Mad Dog. Yeah. Well, 14,000 votes. We should be expecting about 50,000 votes in this region. All right. So the numbers are in, and it looks like I took third. Oh well. So it's no longer a big race for me. I can now focus on the 2016 election.
So close.
Well, when they sabotaged my campaign,
Right.
and they took all our signs down, 50% of our signs were taken down, they were committing what I believe is election fraud and vandalism. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of people that are really upset right now that I didn't get top two, but that's okay.
Not over yet. This
Well,
is just the first
First
vote.
round. First round.
First round.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. He ran a great campaign, UPA.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, we're looking for recount. Yeah, I may ask for a recount. If it gets close, like real close between me and this guy Nick, who didn't even put a sign up. Thank you, Uncle Lester. I'm not concerned about the outcome of this local election. Frankly, I'm not surprised because of the.
Uncle Lester's impressed.
Thank you. I'm not surprised the way they ran their campaign, which is like a bunch of Nazis, commie Nazis, if you can imagine such a thing. These people have literally been knocking down our signs. We've been working diligently to produce large signs, and they destroyed them as soon as we put them up. They threw me a bone.
Hi, Conrad.
I don't think it's a bone. I think it's
not over till it's over.
It'll
right?
be over when the Democratic count goes in. You know, with only 14,000 votes counted, I would expect it to get a little closer between me and Nick.
Yeah, we're going to wait for a little bit, 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the reality is the people of America are tired of the two-party system. And I didn't really have a problem investing $750 of my own money in this campaign, roughly. And I really appreciated the donation from Reverend B.
Look, you spent so far 50 cents per vote.
Yeah, I only spent 50 cents per vote. Compared to my competitor who had $50,000, I only had about $1,200 to work with.
Yeah.
No, they're not dead people. Many people understand where I'm coming from.
That's something to say, too. I mean, that you spent...
Yeah, $750 of my own money is a lot of money, but I believe Homo sapiens are really central to the problem here on Earth, Stephen. If we didn't exist, animals would be fine. Plant life would be fine. You can blame most of the problems on Earth on Homo sapiens.
Yeah.
Look to the left. You won. I won. Great. I won with a woman like Sarah. Yeah, exactly. Hey, you know, if it goes down this way,
it's like that song, All of You.
I don't need to monitor the count right now. I would be at Election Central monitoring the count if I really wanted to listen to people calling me names.
I knew who I was voting for.
Now, the Democrats only have about 3,400 people in the party that actually know what they're talking about. In terms of the Democratic Party, they're the only ones sharing information. So the people that didn't follow the Democratic Party and were listening to me on my commercials, they're the ones that we brought in on that vote. But it's not over yet, and you can clearly see that they didn't even put a guy in there who could beat Dave Hayes. You can clearly see that. And they didn't even run any advertising at all. So you're looking at pure cronyism right now, folks. Classic American cronyism. And this is the litmus test that I wanted to show you. And I think I proved to Reverend B that I'm in an uphill race to deal with the powerful tyranny of the two-party system. But this is a big step in the right direction to get on the ballot, albeit they didn't even give my pamphlet out to the people in my area. So they didn't even know what my position was unless they saw my TV commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah, Norma Smith only had a competitor who was...
he didn't run any...
yeah.
He didn't... He was libertarian and...
No, in 10 minutes...
Did not have any signs at all.
They didn't have any signs.
But he still is going to go to the general election.
He'll go to the general election. I was going to run against somebody I could beat, and I knew I couldn't beat Norma Smith because she had too many people supporting her. And I knew that even if I went to the general election, I would lose against Norma Smith. But if I get to the final count to the second position by some weird fluke, it's very impressive, Sidewalk Sale. Thank you. Considering I only spent $1,250 some odd roughly.
I know, exactly. You have to admit 17% is very impressive.
Thank you, Ryan.
That's
you saw
what
that
I would
video?
say.
Ryan Dog saw that video about Bill Hicks and Alex Jones. It was wild. They look a lot alike, I know.
Wow, thank you. I didn't know that.
Dog Legend, total of $1,250. I spent about $750, and Reverend B made a donation of $500.
So
maximum donation. A total of $1,250.
With $750 from David and $500 from Reverend.
It looks like the outcome is I'm not going to make top 2 so far, but the full count hasn't come in. This is just a small portion of the county, of the district. We're looking at possibly 50,000 votes. Right now we're only counting in 13,272. At this point I'm losing, yes. I'm not going to make top 2 at this point. Let's take a look. Yeah, he's moving ahead of me in percentages. All right.
But you still got higher number.
Yeah.
15%, but still 3,000.
You know, I'll be honest. I don't really have any feelings of loss here.
Yeah.
Because I ran a strong race and they sabotaged my campaign, and their true colors are flying. We have seen right in front of our face, Democrats sabotaging our signs, trying to use Canadian press, the Whitby News Times, to vilify me in the news, painting me out as a racist, calling me names when I don't even in any way have ever said a racial slur in my life. Sabotage. That's right. You can see the breakdown. Well, Chameleon, I can tell you this, that if they continue their little reign of terror over the American people, they will lose in this next round. Across the board, Republicans are going to probably beat the Democrats, and they may even take the Senate. They're going to call me in a few minutes, and I'm going to tell them that I believe my campaign was sabotaged, and I know for a fact that my signs were destroyed and vandalized. That's dirty politics, and that's not right in America, and I can assure you that is a sign that our nation has slipped a long way from the nation we fought for and acquired control over against England. We have a group of people that don't even understand the freedom of speech that was literally the foundation of what this country is founded on. Calling me a racist, which is defamation of character, slander, and then going around pretending like I'm a racist simply for doing a blackface impersonation of Barack Obama. This is unprecedented in U.S. history. Folks, you need to understand a third party is essential for us to take these people down in 2016. They think they can literally control our future. I'm leading in Snohomish County. Thank you. Thank you. I'm actually leading in Snohomish County. Thank you very much. Thanks for checking that. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break. When the call comes in, accepted from the Skagit Herald, we'll go ahead and refer it, and tell them we're recording this, because it is being recorded on our Google Hangout. This does not surprise me. Yeah, I did a blackface video in 2008 that they resurrected in front of me. On an interview, they cold-cocked me basically in the middle of the Canadian press, run by the Canadians, having a newspaper here in America called Whitby News Times deceived me into an interview in which she said, I want to interview because you're a third-party person running as a preferred Democrat. I got there, and she sprung the blackface video on me. She didn't talk about any of the issues that I'm really key on in the article, from what I understand. And she basically smeared me, and very well could have committed defamation of character, which at this point, I haven't even read the article, mind you, because I don't read negative press. But at this point, it could very well be deemed that, and I don't know where I'm going to go at this point other than toward the election in 2016. Thank you, Rodney. Thank you for at least showing some respect for what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah,
I've given it my all.
Thank the people that did support you.
Oh yeah, definitely. I thank all the voters that voted for me in this election. If the tides turn here at any time in this election, my numbers are up to 3,452 now, and the counts are coming in. 20,000 counts read. I'm literally watching right before our very eyes the breakdown of our nation and how these Democrats are willing to go to the nth degree to cheat, lie, and steal my signs just to beat me.
Thank you, Rick.
This is a force, folks, that we have got to deal with a third party. I proved it to you. This is the proof you need. Reverend B is going to wake up on this one, because this is literally what we're dealing with. A bunch of low-handed thugs that think they can hold on to their power structure and then take your tax dollars and waste it, tax and spend, waste it across the board, so that we don't have any solutions in America right now for the problems that are facing our country, because we're tapped out. They've wasted so much money. It's unbelievable. No, the blackface video even got us the number of people in our room right now. I would not have even done it had I been able to get mainstream media attention in 2008. But you got to understand, there's nobody who's willing to even interview any average American in this country in the mainstream media. We are being shut down. All the major news networks will not interview any average American in the mainstream media. It is literally a complete coup against freedom. And they don't even understand freedom of speech. That's what really shocked me about this election. And then to basically hoodwink me with an interview with this woman at the Whitby News Times, which is owned by a Canadian company, and literally use that as a platform to vilify me in the news, shows me that these people will stop at nothing for their control of their power. And they are ruining our nation. So we are empowered by this vote. We are now looking forward to building this third party and growing at a rapid pace toward the 2016 election. And I think I proved to you all that I can campaign, and I can at least get on the ballot, and I can win votes. I'll be right back.
Yes. Good job.
Let me make sure the phone's available. Okay, the phone is available. We're looking at 3 minutes.
Okay. Good job. Yeah. What do you mean? It was an error. Don't say you're trying to get noticed. Say it was an error. Move on. No, not going to. And you want me to do one thing for you? Win? What are we waiting for? Yeah, exactly. I don't know why spamming just thoughts. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I'm not sure who stole the signs, but I do think that it's, well, the votes are in. I'll give you a link so you guys can look at the vote count yourself. And he ran TV commercials, and I think that helped him get the votes that he has. Perhaps his competitors ran TV commercials as well. I'm not sure, because I did not see them. If you get those signs you put on the back of your dashboard, the back part of the window, yeah? You want us to get one of those signs? I decided, yeah. Oh, thank you. Yes, it's an even same thing. The one just shows two different positions and one shows one position. But yeah, there you go. I'm really happy with my life. I really love everything and the direction my life is going, so I really think it's very good. Well, he's very upset about it, Dan. Of course, that's going to come out of David's mouth when he's very, very upset about something like that. Well, the way it works is only the top 2 people move on to the general election, Jack. So David, at this point, with 21,000 total votes out of 50,000 votes, is close to 50,000 votes. Is would not be advancing to the general election. Yeah. So he was up early. I don't know if David ran as a Republican, it would have been any better because he was running against Dave Hayes and all the who is the incumbent, who is a Republican. So I think that wouldn't necessarily.
Come on, Rodney. Give it up, man. What's your problem?
Thank you. I didn't even know what he said.
I know, okay. Laura. Well, digital advertising billboards would be really cool. We were shocked when the large signs we produced were stolen immediately. I wasn't allowed to tell anybody I was a Catholic. Our 200-word essay that was going to go into the pamphlet was not distributed to Island County at all. Well, I did 483 TV commercials, and I can tell you that when they stole all our large signs, that was a serious blow to our campaign. I'm not a practicing Catholic, no, but I was baptized Catholic. But I can tell you this, that, yeah, 483 TV commercials ran in our area. Raging Grover, I'm sorry to say, but I am losing because of the signs. They sabotaged our largest signs. The TV commercials cost roughly right under $500. We got them for around $1 a spot. Well, it was large enough to reach around 20,000 people, and we thought that that would bypass their negative campaigning. But when they sabotaged our large signs, I couldn't afford to rent an airplane with a banner. You got to understand, we only had a small amount in our budget to do this. Yeah, they were about $1 a spot. It was very affordable. No, you can't see the commercials right now. So, yeah, I could have bought $750 myself of lottery tickets, but we wanted to use all the funds that we had effectively, and I think we did run a strong campaign, but we're dealing with people that are using dirty tactics. And they have literally been sabotaging my campaign from the beginning, even being hoodwinked by the Canadian-run press here in our area. Was a real low blow by the Democratic Party when they tried to turn this blackface video into a banner calling me a racist. And they're trying to impale my political career. What they don't know is that nothing is going to stop my political career. And losing a local election opportunity, Nick's not going to win against Dave Hayes. I could have won against Dave Hayes because the district that I actually am winning in right now is his hometown. Thanks, Master Meatball, for your concerned kindness. Yeah, thanks, Meowth. Yeah, who can say I was in one of the primaries? Hey, I did this as a lark because I told Sarah this is something I think we should invest in, especially as we make our way to the 2016 election. I don't ever use an N-word. I've never used a racial slur in my life. ever. For them to call me a racist, they're using verbal abuse. They're committing an act of defamation of character. You know, I'm not sure where I'm going to go right now at this point with the defamation of character issue. But when the Canadian-run newspaper hoodwinked me into an interview claiming they just want to talk about a third party, and then literally asked me toward the end of the interview, I literally talked to her for 45 minutes before she said, oh, by the way, there's some email I've been getting about this video you did, some sort of a blackface video? And I said, yeah, actually, there was a video I did because I didn't get any exposure that parodied the president back in 2008. Well, then the whole interview became the blackface video. She hoodwinked me into the interview, and the Democratic Party put her up to it. This is pure cronyism, and the free press is dead. This is not objective journalism. This is a classic case of a person literally being sabotaged, trying to fight for what Americans really believe in, which is freedom and democracy. And the last thing these Democrats want is democracy. They want to tell people, like they told me in club meetings, to shut up when I didn't want to ratify the war in Iraq. They want to tell people in general terms, don't question their authority because they're in charge. They don't want anyone to step up and say, you people are done. Obama is over. They can't deal with it. They can't handle the truth.
Okay.
Yeah, few good men. Hey, but in a way, I feel liberated. I feel in a way that now I can focus on the 2016 election and pursuing some of my renewable energy solutions that I'm working on right here in my home. And I can tell you that this is not in any way an end point. This is a beginning for me. But you know something? I don't even think I'm going to deign her with a response.
Yeah.
I don't even think I'm going to answer the phone.
Yeah, that's fine too.
Yeah, I think I'm going to ignore the interview.
You reach for comment, that's fine.
Yeah, I think I'm going to ignore the interview.
I think that's a good idea.
I don't feel good about these people. They mischaracterize everything I say. Do you think I should take the interview, Rodney?
Well, I think if you take the interview, I think you...
Stir the pot? Okay, I'll take the interview. I'll call these people out of what they are. All right. Not paranoid. I'm just saying I don't even know if I should even deign them with a response. Well, you know, this exposure of them, you know, painting me out as a racist is absolutely insane.
Any press is good press, yeah.
Okay, I'll take it, Uncle Lester. Yeah, I'm going to start calling them out as saboteurs and committing election fraud. Taking down my large signs was a huge blow to this campaign.
If they call you. They might not.
I hope they don't. Well, it's not ranting abnormal, it's the fact. I was sabotaged. I am putting the system on trial. I was sabotaged. The fact is, taking down 50 signs, destroying them, I had to reprint a whole bunch. I was going to come in at about 1,100, but I had to spend another 150 on signage.
Yeah. I mean,
It's crazy. It's uncalled for.
A lot.
We couldn't believe.
You did a great job.
I thank you. Yeah, we couldn't believe how our large sign that we worked so hard on was destroyed, and the one over there was another large sign was destroyed, and we had 3 or 4 large signs destroyed, and then I went out and created large printed signs, and they took those down. They ripped them down. We went all around the area 5 times over a 50-mile radius, putting signs back up. Well, if I don't mention the signs, how else am I going to respond to the sabotage? You tell me.
Well, I would say something like this. I ran a really good race. I had to keep putting out signs because my signs were taken, like that. So I would just mention it in passing. I wouldn't get all heated and make it all about the signs. And
what about how the media basically hoodwinked me?
And I would say this. I wouldn't say that about the media hoodwinking.
Oh, really?
Because they are the media.
Well, what's the point of taking the interview?
Then I would say, and I wanted to let everyone know, I'm still running for president of the United States, and you can chat with me almost every night.
Yeah.
Because the thing is,
Hookwick?
you're still running for.
Bamboozle. Okay, we'll drop the term hoodwinked.
You're still running for president. Just move on to the next election.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Is because you really.
This is just a stepping stone. I agree. Hill.
This is just a stepping stone. This is a stepping stone to your next election.
I think this was a good litmus test of our legislative process in finding out how corrupt people are in the two-party system. We found out that these people are willing to do anything to win. They're willing to defame my character. They're willing to use the media as their own personal venue to do that. They are also willing to take down signs. I'm not going to ignore the fact that we literally had to go up and put 50 more signs up as a result of what they did.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally want me to ignore the fact they sabotaged my entire campaign?
Well, I could say sabotage, but you don't have to go on and on about it.
Okay.
I'm just saying make it a one-sentence statement about it. And just let them also, but the big thing is,
the one statement is,
all
right,
to let them know that you're still running for president.
Okay, I'm going to let you handle the whole conversation. I'll just say I'll have one statement, and that is I'm running for president in 2016, and then you can handle the entire conversation, okay? Because obviously I'm just going to get pissed off at these people. Because in a way, you have no idea what we've been dealing with.
Yes, I do.
The NRA gave me a C-, even though I answered every question in favor of gun rights, except for one. They wanted to eliminate registration on guns here in Washington. Sabotage would be good, yeah. I'm going to let Sarah handle the entire interview. I'm just going to say I'm running in 2016, and this is a good stand to at least show that we have a lot of support out there. They haven't called yet, so I'm going to assume they're not going to call.
Yeah, they might not call.
Thanks, Manny. You know, and frankly, I don't care. I don't have a day job, Frank the Obama bot. Yeah, I don't need money. I made plans to retire at a young age. What should I say, Rodney? Dave, simply say voter fraud and then hang up. I agree. Voter fraud and then just hang up. I like it.
Yeah.
I like your response, Rodney.
Good.
We're just going to claim it. Sir, would you like to say anything? I am a winner, Nippers, but when you're facing unparalleled corruption and cronyism in government, it's going to be hard to beat those people. This guy had $50,000 to beat me. I had barely $1,250. I'm scraping together. Picking up pennies on the road as I walk. I agree, Rodney. Thank you.
Hey, it's me, Awesome Carl.
I'll just answer as Awesome Carl.
Hey, it's me, Awesome Carl, representing David.
I mean, maybe 130 people might listen. Or better yet, I'll answer as the Great Hoppy.
How you doing, everybody? I'm doing pretty good.
I got it down, baby. Hey, you know.
You're awesome, David. I just want to say I really appreciate you. I'm really
I know.
proud of you.
Well, let me tell you, Sarah, this has been so exhausting. Just getting to this level that I actually dreaded having to go around and pick up signs over the next 2 months and having them ripped down again.
Having post signs.
Yeah, having to constantly put signs up, constantly make new signs. It was unbelievable.
It was a lot of work. David put a lot of work into this campaign.
A lot of work. I gave it my all. I'm not going to in any way have any misgivings about running because I'm glad I ran. But it looks to me like these people have absolute control over the brains of the few voters we have left, except for the ones that voted for me. And I thank all of you that voted for me. Let me take a look at the refresh here.
Yeah. Over 3,000 people voted for you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty awesome.
It's awesome, yeah. It is impressive, Uncle Lester, yeah. Well, you know, I'm not discouraged, DT Laura. Thank you for saying that. We were in the areas that my district was in. I broadcasted in 2 television zones on Comcast, and I literally got $1 a spot. You don't have to feel my pain, Topper Dan. I'm not in pain at all. I'm actually quite fine with the results. I didn't expect this to be an easy race, and frankly, as you can see, Dave Hayes has full control because he's the incumbent, and the competitor, Nick Petrish, doesn't really stand a chance against the guy because he obviously didn't even have any advertising out there, and they still put him in power. Nick Petrish was probably put on the ballot because I put my name in the running. He was just thrown in there at the last minute, and then they all gathered behind him, and then they've been running a single campaign to paint me out as a racist. I would never, ever threaten anyone, yes, 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 ever. Never, ever, ever. While Debbie, I expected people to take it as a spoof because I really believe that we're beyond that now, and I've talked to a lot of African Americans that feel the same way. A lot of you people of the Democratic Party are living a lie. And the lie is that you can live in America, claim you have power, defend it with sabotaging techniques, and deny other people free speech, and then defame people's character in the process. You can think you can call me a racist now, but what you're really doing is you're facing potential lawsuits. All of you are. And I'll pass all of this information in front of an attorney before I leave this entire event behind. And we'll look at the logistics of a lawsuit. But what I have seen so far, up to this point, is voter fraud at every level. From the sabotaging of all our signs to the, I'm talking big signs too, that we spent hours working on, literally destroyed, taken down. Thank you, Raiden. And I definitely will do whatever I say I'm going to do. I'm a man of my word.
Hi, Licorice.
This is an interesting thing. I need to copy that.
What?
This thing. He usually doesn't put anything in. Seriously.
Okay, that is.
Yeah, that's it.
The person running against you.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right. 17% is good. Thanks, Ricky. Well, you don't have to give me a consolation pat on the back. It's okay. We will do the guerrilla warfare attack full steam ahead now. This is a guerrilla media tactics in full mode. I will be doing the blackface video coming up October 31st for Halloween. I'm looking forward to doing that. And we're going to give you guys the option of course, copying it and doing whatever you want with it. Yes, and it's going to be fun. We're going to bring on Blackface 2. I've got another Blackface video that was pulled off the internet I'll probably put back on.
It's not really true, but...
Well, I wouldn't doubt it. I really wouldn't doubt it. They're fused at the hip. No, Sarah's not a part of the Blackface video at all.
Not, never.
She won't even be in the October 31st show. I'm doing that on my own. Sarah's never been a part of the Blackface video. She did read some lines for me, which I integrated into the audio clip, only because I needed a different voice to do it. Yeah, they've had Blackface on Blu-ray on eBay. Some guys, Tony De Silva, is profiting from it. That's a copyright infringement. You know, I'm not really aware of the unexpected death of Justin TV. Other than to find out that Twitch was bought for $1 billion and he probably just gave it up. No, Manny, we've got a lot of black people in our area that have actually congratulated me. They said, we're all beyond that. We understand that it's no big deal. No, it's true. We had a person come into our room and said that. And he's from our area.
Yeah.
We're going to be working I'm going to be working the Blackface video full steam ahead and building on it as we go. Thank you, Kool-Aid Anthrax. Awesome. And the next one's going to be more of an impersonation video of Barack Obama with a lot of twists. We're going to talk about his transgender husband, Michael. It's full steam ahead right here. Yeah, I have one mode, and that's forward. And I'm glad that I did this because I proved to everybody, including one of our biggest donators, Reverend B, he'll be anxious to find out that I'm third, that You can't beat these two-party systems on their own territory because they cheat. Floyd, I'll do whatever I feel like doing, thank you. Especially now, since people are already vilifying me as a racist, I got nothing to lose. I'm not a racist, but I can tell you, I don't think black people use that accent at all. Black people talk in a much different accent than the one I used during the blackface video. That was a retro accent. That was taken from the minstrel times of the blackface period. That was more of a retro video. It's actually in honor of all the men and the vaudevillian actors that did blackface that helped create what we know today as African American music. Without it, the Jewish people could never have created what we know today as rap. That's right. Most of the blackface entertainers were Jewish, and they ended up controlling that industry, as you know. And to this day, even rap music is run and owned by the Jewish elitists that put those labels out there. It's just what they do, you know. So they paved the way for black entertainment with the minstrel period, and the vaudevillian era was not something that we should just erase. Rodney, I would never smoke crack in a video. We may replicate the crack experience with a blong or something, yeah, absolutely. I might light up a little, you know, sure. It's going to be hilarious. It's 3 hours of nonstop blackface. How could you turn that down? October 31st, be there. No, I'm going to have to buy a bond. But I'm pretty sure with at least one recreational, yeah, it's going to be 3 hours of me doing the impersonation video. With one recreational dispensary 30 miles from here, maybe I can ask them where I can buy a bond. Just for the entire look. You're going to send me a bong, Rodney? That's awfully nice of you. Please don't have any residue in it. I don't want to violate any federal crimes. Maybe I'll vape. Ooh, yeah. I think I could vape too. Why don't we just vape online with the vaporizer, and we'll just get so loaded, and I'll be Barack Hussein Obama's for 3 hours nonstop hilarity. Let's do that. It's too bad Lincoln got shot. The whole Reconstruction period never went forth. Fist of goodness. Yeah, Lincoln could never have fulfilled what he planned. You know, we would never have had the racial conflicts that we've had over the past many years had Lincoln been alive to fulfill his Reconstruction period. He had some plans for the people that, you know, a lot of people don't realize that slaves were part of the U.S. military, owned by the U.S. military when, right before the abolitionist period finalized the Civil War and the Gettysburg Address, freedom of the slave occurred in the 13th Amendment. They were actually U.S. Army property. So the U.S. Army was so heavily burdened with the support and maintenance of the blacks that had been emancipated that they actually had to declare the Emancipation Proclamation just to free them from the Army's control, because the Army couldn't warehouse these people. So then they all drifted into cities, and gradually our cities became, you know, industrial cities. And I think African Americans have done pretty well in America considering their plight and where they were at as slaves. And I think that we've made a lot of strides. But what we haven't done is we haven't in many ways looked at equality in America. People are still racially profiled in inner cities, and it's pretty sad that they're being pulled over by cops because they're black. It's pretty sad that I was seen as a white guy who couldn't get a scholarship even though I had the highest SAT scores in my school and was at the top of my class. Yeah. No, many of the Army assimilated the slaves. They were Army ownership. The Army owned the slaves at that time, especially in the swing states. But anyway, I don't want to get into the abolitionist period and the Reconstruction. Many people still view the Civil War as the war of northern aggression. I do, Topper Dan. Sherman's army was the largest. And Lincoln was not in favor of assimilation. You're right, Hell's Angels. True. he had a different idea in mind about the Reconstruction, and Johnson didn't follow through with it. But you know, I'm not really here to talk about the plight of African Americans tonight. I'm here to talk about the plight of everybody who's being racially profiled, including white people, and the rights of women who should get the same pay men get in a similar job. So we really need a new ERA. I'm urging people to start talking about a new Equal Rights Amendment, something that would be a leveling of the playing field for people. Uncle Lester, I couldn't bring anything up about my competitor, primarily because I didn't have any press time about me and what I believed in. They didn't run stories about my campaign. They ran hate attacks on what I did in 2008, which incidentally has helped me. So, by the way, if you think the blackface has destroyed me,
you can blame me.
Yeah. In our area, no, you don't have to blame. In our area, the Asian population is larger than black population. It's true. The demographics show we're 75% white. 30% of those suffer from white guilt and are afraid to speak out. I know. I know. I'm glad that it isn't going to happen, Hell's Angels. Thank you. I'm not worked up about an interview at all. Thank you, Manny. I'm trying to just deal with life's stressors. And, you know, right now we got 4 minutes left of the show, and I'm going to wrap things up very succinctly by saying voter fraud. Thank you, Rodney. And also, Clown Dude, we're not wasting our time running a third party. We're trying to challenge your mindless, democratic ways that support the Obama-tards and Obama, who has literally destroyed everything this nation stood for. And you Democrats who've sabotaged my campaign are the first to be dealt with in the coming election in 2016. You're number one on the list because you're the ones who have forgotten what freedom is all about, and you're the ones who are trying to take our nation's privacy away. You're the ones who are literally trying to destroy our international position as well. Worldwide, we are starting to sink. And you've mindlessly supported Obama through this whole process. You are the problem. And I'm glad I ran against you idiots because you need to know we're coming and we're not going to stop. And if you think you can take our signs down and sabotage us and play dirty tactics, you have met your match, buddy.
Thank you all for watching, and we will be here again tomorrow evening.